Councilors Grambling.
Here.
Kroger.
Here.
Montague.
Here.
Schuyler.
Here.
Scoville.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lincoln.
Here.
Mayor Clark.
Here. Just remind everybody, you gotta speak up for the audience tonight, because the speakers aren't working. We are in a work session beginning tonight. We've got draft 2026 fiscal year budget budgeted. We've got good things.
Right, thank you, Mayor. I'll go ahead and kick it off and then kick it over to Pam to do the general overview of the proposed 2026 budget. I have a few slides. Same as it ever was kind of thing, so please bear with me. It's a lot of the same stuff. Some of y'all have seen quite a bit, some of y'all haven't seen it as much. And then there's a lot more to the first 4 or 5 slides that I'll go through, and I will cover those throughout the course of Pam's presentation, as she takes us from fund to fund. So an overview of what we're talking about over the next hour, and I guess I will add, we do have a hard stop at 5:30. And if we're not done with the budget conversation, presentation, et cetera, we'll come back at the end of the meeting, at the end, but like the last items on the meeting before the manager's report to continue where we left off. So just a heads up there. But we're going to cover a very general overview of the budget adoption process here in a second. And then Pam's going to lead us through an overview of the proposed budget before you for 2026. That includes overview of all the financials. We're going to follow up on any direction or request for more information from you all from the retreat back on October 4th now. Seems like a long time ago. And then we'd like to discuss and get further direction on the capital improvement plan and special projects to undertake for 2026. And of course, through the bulk of it, conversation on anything and then public comment should be afforded. Purpose of the budget document, we're aiming to meet legal requirements. Deficit spending is not allowed per state budget law. We're all well acquainted with that requirement. It states the projected revenues and expenditures, not just for the general fund, but all 3 funds. And then it prioritizes objectives and establishes a firm work plan for the town staff and for the town in general for the next fiscal year. I will not read this. This is straight out of the charter, but it's good fundamental information because remember, this presentation isn't just for you all, it's for members of the public. So hopefully folks pour through the YouTube. Timeline. Y'all have seen this. We just wanted to show where we started and where we're at right now. We're obviously November 12th. We're in I call it budget hearing, work session type setting, but we're getting pretty darn close to the end, considering that all we really have left with some of these milestones are the ad hoc review committee making formal recommendations on the community grant funding. Another budget workshop in early December, right before it's slated to be adopted on December 10th. And on December 10th, that's the culmination of all the hard work, adoption of the 2026 fiscal year budget. That includes adoption of the capital projects plan, 5-year, 10-year, the 2026 strategic plan, and then the resolution certifying the mill levy. Any questions on timeline? And then I'd always like to, cover the budget approach, the approach that I think from a staff perspective we're bought into, and I know council has bought into that over the prior years. Number one, we want to balance core operation expenses with conservative revenue projections. 2, we want to ensure long-term fiscal stability. 3, we want to provide for the delivery of quality services and maintain and enhance service delivery. Number 4, I always say I'm gonna do it in all caps and then I never do it. Establish reserves necessary to meet known and unknown future obligations. You never know when you're gonna have a really, really rainy day.
Literally.
Yeah. So I will stop there, and then you all remember these slides. We have one for general fund, water fund and sewer fund. They're the milestone amounts from projected beginning fund balance to projected ending general fund balance. Pam will cover those as we go. And like I said, we have a whole host of other slides that I'll kind of chime in and cover as Pam gives her presentation. Does that sound good?
Yeah. And just to reiterate, something you mentioned again last night, in the SAB meeting, difference between incoming and outgoing revenues, expenditures doesn't necessitate deficit spending as long as we have reserves.
Yeah, you can spend out of the fund balance, right? You can call that whatever you want, fund balance, reserves, but that still meets state budget law.
Thank you.
So the council has in the packet the draft budget as of today's date. The listing of the location of expenditures that are located within the budget. And the 5 and 10-year capital improvement project plans. The capital improvement projects for 5-year for the general fund, water fund, and sewer fund, all items that are on these documents that are yellow are already placed into the budget. And these are items that came out of the council workshop. So those items in the general fund were the Green Street Park Master Plan construction documents, replacing a truck in the streets department, a patrol vehicle in the marshals department, a lift for light replacement and banner installation, and reserves that will be set aside for matching funds for athletic park improvements. The water fund is the continuation of the Beaver Creek diversion project and the water extension on Moffett Street. And the sewer fund is the preliminary needs assessment and design of the treatment plant and the reserves that we're setting aside for the the wastewater treatment plant improvements. So those items are also embedded in this budget document along with the items on that memorandum. The memorandum with the expenditures that are shown, look, those are the locations within the budget by line item. So if you were looking at a certain line item, you can see everything that's contained in it that's over and above a normal expenditure. So if there's a line item that there's an ongoing expenditure, it's not going to be shown here, but it could be shown within that number, within the budget. So the budget, as we are seeing it now for the general fund, is complete. There are some items that are highlighted in yellow, and that is because we've got some things that are unknown at this time, but we're saying we're getting as close as possible to those numbers. One is the property tax. That assessment is not finalized until we receive those numbers again from the assessor's office. And that will happen in this month so that it comes really close to that December 3rd meeting. We'll have that final number.
But it will be pretty darn close to what you see in yellow.
It probably only off by a few dollars. That's how it's been in the past. The lodging tax numbers on here are highlighted because of discussion council is going to happen in executive session, which may affect that number. The road and bridge apportionment is highlighted because we have not received any numbers from Uric County as of this date. So we're taking a guess close to where we were last year with those numbers from the county. The community grants, which are located on page 3 of the general fund, those have not been allocated yet because we haven't received that presentation from the committee. But I put that full dollar amount that council did set aside and allocate into there, so we would have that number reflecting our remaining fund balance. So that is highlighted. Then we have one other item that's from the county that we don't have the numbers yet on, which is on page 6, which is our multi-jurisdictional program participation. That's a number of different projects that we collaborate with the county on. And we're again making a guesstimate close to where we came in this year. And then, of course, on our last page of the budget, our emergency fund number is also in yellow because I don't have the absolute final number on that. And once I do, that number will be placed in there at 3% of the total expenditures within the general fund. So at this time, your ending fund balance in the general fund is $2,755,763. Last budget year, at the time of adoption of the 2025 budget, that was $3,052,622. So you can see that we've dropped that ending fund balance, which is what Preston was referring to, trying to hit that number so that we are set for any kind of emergencies that might happen. So are there any questions in the general fund, any of the items that are on any of those documents, or any items council sees that they would like to talk about placing in here or removing?
Was there any discussion into looking into buying the land for the co-housing? I know that was discussed in the budget meeting, and we all kind of were in agreement that that would be something that we have an appetite for taking on a bit of.
So out of that conversation, I think we earmarked 25,000 as a result of that conversation to come up with some sort of creative solution.
We're talking about a purchase agreement, which
Yes.
would buy us time during 2026 to figure out financing.
Right, but
That would-
remember, this is an initiative for 2026.
Yes.
So yeah, that money is in there in the budget.
I'm sorry.
There's plenty of other conversations.
I'm sorry,
Yeah, plenty of other conversations happening on that property currently, and so there's a lot of moving parts, so I'll keep you all posted as we go.
Thank you.
it's located under line item 572 GOO.
Thank you. I must have missed that one.
It's okay.
It's listed in your slide deck later, under project list. Is now time to start talking about some of those?
Yeah, there's no right or wrong.
Well, the first one that's on the list is resurfacing the tennis courts in the athletic park. We had in the 5-year capital improvement plan, 40,000 for resurfacing the tennis and the basketball courts. I don't think there's been any observations about the need to resurface the basketball court. But having said that, I don't play on the basketball court. But I'd like to suggest that we move 25,000 of that 40 up into the park maintenance budget, because I see resurfacing those courts as a maintenance issue for that park facility. I would suggest, propose that tennis courts, especially through the use of the pickleball club, which is over 200 people. It's the largest athletic club in the entire county. Those courts get used somewhere between 300 and 400 times a month, and haven't been maintained, as far as I know, court surface since they were built, and it's becoming a safety issue. There's a number of cracks and things that are becoming a trip ball hazard. So I propose that we push 25 of that projected 40 out of the capital improvement, 5-year capital improvement plan into the park maintenance budget. I think that's what I proposed before, which is why it's on the list. And I can identify the line item in the park maintenance budget here. Where I suggested it should be
775 POO.
under park maintenance.
Well, that's the budget line item on the resurfaced tennis court and basketball courts.
And I'm proposing it be put under 731 PO.
It's on the capital improvement plan under 775 POO.
But I'm suggesting moving 25, not 40, into the 2026 budget under 731 PO.
Because you're saying it's not an improvement, it's just a general maintenance of the existing,
That's
of the existing
what
amendment.
I'm suggesting, is to make this facility that's getting a lot more use than.
Yeah, I can see how we face with the existing surface isn't really an improvement. It's maintenance and repair.
I do think that if the the tennis courts get redone, the basketball courts should get redone as well.
I'm just not sure there's a need for it.
I don't think there's coding. That's cool.
Oh, okay.
Just straight.
I'm not even sure there's a resurfaceable surface.
That's what.
That's what
It's
Josh
just
said.
like,
Yeah.
There's lines. I don't have a problem with this proposal, anybody else? What's strong one?
I don't know.
Seems like it's worked well.
It gets a lot of use. I hear it daily.
Well, and I think, yeah, the semantics matters, it's maintenance, not improvement, so, yeah.
I'd like to bring up it's on here as STR compliance activity and enforcement assistance. But we also got a presentation earlier this year about needing to understand how many beds we have in town. And I think given recent events, really understanding how many beds we have is going to be a key thing. I think we're gonna have incentive to have illegally operated short-term rentals with our mid-range hotel options limited. I know we've had some desire for like the constituent portal, but I think we certainly could do without that. As long as we can really assure our residents that we know what's being advertised. That if you tell someone, yeah, go ahead and get a short-term rental in the town of Ridgway, that it's legal and paying their fees. And it's gonna give us data. I think we need to remember some of the conversations we were having a year ago about Clinton Street businesses and how they were hurting. I think we got some pretty strong information that a bed census and how much they're occupied is important.
Isn't that in motion?
We're not gonna be able to get data on the short-term rentals unless we've got some, like, we don't have vacancy data. We're on occupancy data either way.
I think that's a great idea.
I don't think so, yeah.
I mean, honestly, we could come back with an increased fee on short-term rentals. This is the thing that we need to run this program effectively. So I don't know how we do it, if we feel like we need to look at raising fees in 2026. But I mean, to me, the short-term rental should pay for monitoring and collecting of data. Correct. So I don't know that we can do that immediately. But I think we should start collecting data sooner rather than later. So I don't know how because we would only collect a higher fee as renewals came in anyway, so we would have to bridge a gap.
I don't know, I mean, support.
So you're suggesting just like raising the renewal fee versus doing this $5,000 rental scape thing, is this the next slide?
Well, my proposal would be that we do the base cost and the compliance monitoring. And then we are going to have to cover some of that because we can't just magically up fees. It'll be as things come in for renewal. I would have to go back and look what month we had the economic development report, but it seemed pretty clear that one of our low-hanging fruit things was understanding beds. And I think we've had compounding things happen since then that tell me we need to know how many beds and how they're occupied.
What does that, I mean, I'm not against it, but what does that not gain us? Like, what does that, how
So,
does that change what we're doing?
so one of the outcomes that could happen in the next 5 years is we could have people come to us and say, we need more short-term rentals. But we don't have any data that points to our current short-term rentals being occupied.
Got it.
Um,
So good.
when we talk about events like the film fest, like what is changing with occupancy? Like, can we see an economic benefit tied to particular events in town? When we are trying to make smart decisions around marketing, we're just kind of guessing based on.
What are our true shoulder seasons, like when is the,
Yeah, so we're just guessing based on what we're told in vibes.
makes sense, makes sense.
So ultimately, I mean, $10,000 to think about how we're spending marketing dollars is a big deal. And if we think about doing that this year, but then eventually, how do we charge an appropriate fee to our short-term rentals to do this? That's the correct way to handle it. But I don't think we can wait to get on that cycle.
I think we've talked about this for at least 3 years now, and I think it might be time to act.
And so like Amy has a problem with it.
I'm not catching the dollar amount that we're, though.
I'm proposing we accept the rental scape, the base cost and the compliance monitoring. I think the.
10,000 total.
Yeah, I think the constituent portal would be nice. I think if we can say that we've
Yeah,
got the
I don't think-
compliance monitoring,
Yeah.
that's gonna provide a lot of that
100%.
that information to our constituents without them being able to log in.
100%.
Because if we've got a problem, I assume they can call town hall and be like, my neighbor's short-term rental is annoying, can I have some contact info? So.
So the dollar amount is 10,000?
Yes.
Okay.
I mentioned this last year. Are we ready to move on to another topic?
Mhm.
I mentioned this last year, maybe the year before. Do we need to reconsider a grant writer being on staff? Do we need to reconsider like either a freelance or a part-time person to help with all of the grants that are happening? And all of the funding that's out there and all of the projects that we'd like to do? Is that something that we need to reconsider?
What is outside the question?
My answer would be no, in short. I mean, we're getting fully staffed in the clerk's office, and remember, we don't just go out searching for grants for random things. We have our established work plan, and that's what we would go out for grants for. Based on the current work list, I mean, there's, for 2026, there's a lot, like, there's always a lot, right? Not everything won't get done. I'll just shocker. Not everything won't get done in 2026. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
And now that we got Lee on board.
And we have a lead, and so that's where I wanted to go with that. Lee has a lot of grant writing experience, and a lot of people on staff do. Joanne's on the line, and I mean, she's our best grant writer as our engineer. So I think we're covered in that realm. I appreciate that. I would be remiss if I did not bring up again, Pam alluded to it. And I don't want to, beat a dead horse, but total general fund expenditures is already over $5 million. Ridgway's never had a $5 million budget in the general fund. That's huge for Ridgway. When you go to the next slide, you can see where it's come in the last just 5 or 6 years. And when you look at revenues with that, revenues are slated to go slightly down this year. So we're dipping into fund balance pretty significantly to achieve all the stuff that we already had before we started having these conversations. So I really just want to make sure we have that understanding.
I looked at the last. The actuals in terms of revenue, not to say that that's, I mean, it's a good thing, but that's the statistic that's in your graph, your bar chart.
I mean, I think that's really true. I think something we need to be cognizant of are things like fees. So our short-term rentals, like, as we have a million things going on, Preston, and you talk about doing all those pieces, like, there is a point where it's like $10,000, like, where now the only part on staff is we have a report of something that's not compliant, and those fees should be paying for that service. Like, that's an important thing to me, and I think Terry, you raise a good point, like, where are we making sure that our fees are covering what they need to cover? That's the role of it. And it's not gonna take care of everything, but it is part of it.
Your slide that says sales tax revenue versus original budget. What, am I just ignorant here, like, where's the sales tax revenue? Which one of those is sales tax revenue?
Or projected year in 2025. Or.
Well, I mean, the graph says it's sales tax revenue versus original budget, but
So we budgeted the amount of.
So we budgeted in blue, orange is what actually came.
got it.
And my point was, if you took the last 4 years and you average that delta, it comes out to be about 30%.
Right, so the last 4 years, our budget's been higher, but our revenues have also been higher, so, yeah. I think that's what I brought up at the budget meeting was.
Yeah.
Obviously, we need to be good stewards of the money, but. Only looking at the fact that our budget was higher the last 4 years also doesn't look at the whole picture of our revenue also being higher the last 4 years, so like, what's our budget as a percentage of our actual revenue too? I think that statistic matters. I think, are we?
I mean,
Lots of this show.
I think Kristen is raising a really excellent point that, hey, we need to be cognizant of this, and I think
Mhm.
Terry also raises the point that it might not be a moment of panic or reason to go cutting things. John, you remember, Terry, you probably do too, sitting here in 2020 and saying like, shit hit the fan, what could we not do? And doing a revision or canceling things we had projected to do is also an option to us should a whole different, not a rainy day, but like a nationwide shit hath hitteth the fan sort of situation. That is something we have done. Some of these optional projects that maybe are slated towards the end of the year. We went through and I think most of them we ended up doing, because look at our sales tax revenue here in 2020 and 2021 weren't the catastrophic situation we thought was gonna happen. But we sat down really early on and redlined budget items.
And not to undermine your point, but.
Well, that's, I think what I'm saying is the truth is we're all saying the same thing, is we have to be cognizant that we're touching a $5,000 budget for the first time and kind of projecting flat revenues. However.
And there's one other data point, which we don't always spend. Not by.
As he said, we're not gonna do every project, which means we're not gonna pay for every project.
Well, there's that, and then, we budget conservatively, so the hope is that everything we put out to bid, everything we get quotes for comes in lower. It's always great. So yeah, actuals is a way different story. When you're going through the exercise on paper, it's different. But I couldn't say it any better than you just did. I mean, yeah, Pam and I would come to y'all and say, whoa, things aren't looking that great. We need to go through an exercise, just like we did during the pandemic. So there's ways we can approach that, but you said it right. I'm not trying to prevent anybody from having these conversations and doing what collectively want to do. I just really want you all, I just want to make sure you all are cognizant of these figures.
Yeah.
Well, and the other point is our auditor always gives Pam and Preston great kudos for being conservative. They're doing, we always do well during their audits, so that's a credit to the point you're trying to raise.
I have a question.
Right, Michelle?
About the Decker room, I don't quite remember where we left it at our budget retreat, but I thought we had some questions that we sent back to them and we were questioning. I believe it was the lighting upgrade, and I'd like to think it was the art hanging, but I don't remember exactly. Nor do I remember what the questions were, but those were
Because
kind
they
of
wanted
like
to do like 4
add-ons.
projects.
Wait a minute, that comes to like $100,000, over $100,000.
Yes, yeah, thanks for the follow-up. The one note that we took out of that conversation was on the lighting piece, get a more specific plan and a more specific number for lighting for you all to consider tonight. We got an estimate or we did get a new design for, not a new design, we actually got a design for lighting with help from Adam Beck. The labor estimate is around $9,000, but we're still waiting for a number on the new light fixtures as part of that design. So that's a long-winded way of saying, not quite sure yet. It could be somewhere around that $25,000 figure that we had in there. It may be lower, it could be higher. I doubt it'll be higher. But we're still working to pinpoint a number instead of just.
Well, my
And I
question.
think our concern was that it was like $100,000.
Yeah, my question, could that be staged, right?
Yeah.
That design, maybe they don't all go in the first year. It just seems like, I mean, I don't know the details enough. I would have to be more involved with it, but it's just one place where I'm like, I think we spend a lot of money over there.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't seem to come back.
Well,
I don't think it's meant to.
Yeah, not everything we do is meant to.
Most of what we do is.
For listen, do we have money to,
Public matter.
for the, do we have money to do $10,000 for short-term rentals? Do we need to do 100,000 on Decker this year? Can we do 80,000 on Decker and then actually do the short-term rental and the tobacco? Or, you know what I mean? Like, we still have to.
But I don't think those things, I think you're raising a question about a pure number being spent on Decker room is reasonable. Based on our discussion here, I mean, we are talking about creeping over the 5 million mark, but we are talking about a 2.9% increase year over year. So like, yes, it's gone up, but we're, you know.
Plus the cost of money is different too.
Yeah,
I
so
was question okaying, like being like, yep, that's what you wanted, okay, you can have all of it.
Michelle, I'm in total agreement with you that if it comes to that point and all of a sudden things are tight, and we start moving things around, that might be a good place to start, that we could have patience with how we move forward with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Total agreement.
I mean, it's not enough to really move the needle, but you have to start somewhere.
80 grand, 80 grand.
And kind of playing again on what Beth said too, you know. Quarter by quarter, we can reevaluate where things are based upon how the economy is going. We have to tighten our belt mid-year and relinquish some of the more progressive projects. We'll just do that.
So is there, just trying to,
okay, so
is there?
can I actually just to
Figure it out.
go back to Michelle and Josie, I wanna respect your points here. What things are we looking at the lighting and the art hanging in particular as kind
They
of.
wanted to do lighting, they wanted to do art hanging, they wanted to do their, they wanted to do some more design, they wanted to do their parking up front, which we said no to, right? We took away the sidewalk,
Yeah, we
whatever.
talked, so I guess,
And then there was, the installation of the pipes, and so there were like. I think our concern was just like, okay, like, sure, these are things that need to happen, but do all 4 projects need to happen this year? I think that was more the concern we talked about at the budget meeting.
I would say to me, insulating the pipes and doing the art hanging are kind of things that really should happen.
And that's what we said at the budget meeting, but we said installing the
The
pipes is
lighting.
more important than redoing their lighting this.
Okay.
And just like this, like this, I look at the signage, I'm like, wait a minute, how long has that been operating with what budget? And there still isn't something. It just seems disorganized to me. And maybe I should get more involved and then I'll come back next year and I'll know more about it.
It's not a fun, you should.
It just seems
There's
like
cool stuff.
every time I go by, things are happening. I'm actually really,
It's a good.
really impressed.
I went by today and like it was open for people to go do stuff like before I went to work. It's awesome. Would definitely recommend getting it.
And that's not what we're saying, though. We're not saying it's not us. We're saying, they're saying.
I guess-
Why are you stamping every project?
If it's already awesome,
Yeah.
then it doesn't need.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that it's used, so it is very used. And so you do invest dollars into something that is a general benefit to town, whether we're generating dollars or whether it's an activated space on Clinton Street.
Is the concern to just slash those numbers and kind of pull back or replace those dollars with other projects or?
Well, to have an actual estimate,
Well, yeah, well, and that's where it kind of gets vague and. if
yeah, like, oh,
It
okay.
happens, it happens. And doesn't, then that can get kicked down the road.
Well, I do want to give Tara a big shout out. She's been working to get a firm estimate on the lighting upgrades. But what I'm hearing is there might be a collective desire to fill the amount being allocated for the Deco room. I would be an advocate, just given everything that goes on in the Deco room. For the art hanging installation, those would take.
I think that'll save us money in the end.
You know, if you don't want to pursue lighting upgrades this year, we can get a more firm design and number for next year potentially.
I feel like that was what you and I both said at the end of the
Yeah.
budget meeting was, yes, we totally, there's so many art hangings and new installations every month, like totally, I get it. On an easier, better system for switching out art all the time, totally, and all the different art installations are awesome. And obviously we're paying Ariel, we're not slashing that budget, and we said that there's so many meetings there, I mean, insulating the pipes would be like a really cheap, a couple $1,000 $1,000.
Hopefully.
Right, well,
Yeah, I mostly I was just looking for more detail as opposed to like rubber stamping. That's really where I was coming from. I don't wanna cut money to the arts, that's not where I'm going with this. just like wanting more information, because it just seemed like, you know, it's easy to make a list of all the things you want. We're just gonna okay all of it.
Ebenezer, it's all right.
No turkey dinner. Yeah, ham sandwich.
Okay, so we, are we, what's the
Yeah,
consensus?
Whatever, I'm done. I've said
Can we
my
table the
piece.
lighting upgrade? And, I mean, it sounds like they need time to get an actual bid in place anyway.
Yeah.
Our estimate, sorry, in place.
And I think we can all maybe say that we love the Decker room and it would be nice to have lighting upgrades, but the Decker room can still be amazing if we push
It's still
lighting
functional
upgrades on
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, or do it in stages.
Well, that's
you know,
big.
like put the infrastructure in and maybe you don't.
I think
get
we're
all
all
the
in
agreement.
All in agreement.
Thank you.
All right, what else? I mean, I don't know.
Come on, John, come up with something.
I forgot to mention earlier in the process, but I would like to see us buy a couple of these owls. You guys have probably seen in various meetings there.
It's coming.
Camera,
Those are cool.
they're really cool.
It tracks who's
It's to
speaking.
attract people and for Zoom, it's called an owl.
Oh,
Not an animal.
It's a piece of
It's
technology.
electronic.
it's in
but-
here.
Got it. I was like, I was afraid.
I was also confused.
Let's like, are we
You
getting?
got it out.
For some.
It's called the meeting owl.
And.
The S and P uses.
What is the price of?
We bought one in 2020 and it's now in the Decker room. I want to say it was $1,500 or something.
It's pretty cool.
I think that
It's just
three
like-
is quite a
They
bit.
can be a little
Basic.
bitty.
But I don't-
I know, I am gonna have to fix my face.
Actually, looks like the
People want to pitch.
Faces.
three is just 10.99.
So John, how many?
Two would be ideal.
I think the budget can accommodate that where we're at right now.
Let's see what the difference between the three and the four.
John, how about if you reach out to Pam and tell her which one to buy?
Okay. There's a Model 3 and a Model 4. The Model 4 is twice as much, but it's more. I don't know if we need that or not. I'll do some.
I seriously never seen the bottom part. Some of the details make difference.
Yeah, who wants this one? So I wanna, if I can just jump in real quick and just.
Keep it moving, yeah.
It keeps us moving a little bit.
Yeah, I think we need-
Come back.
Thank you.
You got amounts for water and sewer. Pam hasn't even taken us through those yet, but I do want to call out, actually, sorry. Back more, let's see, this is a slide I always like to fixate on a operation reserve standpoint. Pam already mentioned the 3% emergency reserve required by Tabor when you couple that with additional fund balance. You know, we're looking at 2,900,000. And as a percentage of general fund expenditures, you know, 57%. Last year at this time, I think it was somewhere in the 60s, maybe even low 70s. I can't remember, but it's still a pretty healthy amount. So I just want to call that out. Then from a personnel standpoint, we didn't cover personnel significantly during the retreat. We only have one real new personnel addition being requested for 2026. We're recommending that we carry over the full-time public works maintenance operator position into next year because it's gone unfilled so far in 2025. We're still working to find someone to fill that role. And we are recommending increasing the part-time we did talk about this one during the retreat, increasing the part-time deputy marshal position to full-time for next year. And then we have one budgeted in 2026 for 3 full-time seasonal parks positions, and that would include Mark Whiteman, if he wanted to come back. He did such a tremendous job on the landscaping front. Not quite sure if he'll want to do that again next summer, but hopefully we can do that again, because that was great.
That seems all really reasonable.
Totally, we use a lot of parks here, so.
And then pay movement recommendations, we covered this during the retreat, but we heard back from Lori at Logic Compensation Group. She is recommending that the salary structure be adjusted by 2.4% to make sure we maintain that competitive position, not just public sector, but the private sector as well. And so there's some information on how we would implement from that standpoint. But as a percentage of total payroll, we're looking at $100,000, just north of $100,000 increase, which is 6.5% above total payroll in 2025. That's a smaller increase than what happened in 2024. And again, that's just based on what's happening with the cost of labor. I can answer any questions on that.
Pay our people.
Full support of pay the people.
Who?
Keep it down, right?
And then last one I'll cover before we can go back to everything. Talked about revenue projections and such. Pam and I have Deb, sorry, I was leaving Deb out. Deb is an integral part of our team. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
That was hurt up.
We have pinpointed $1,300,000 to propose for that sales tax figure, for projected. That is a decrease from the 2025 adopted budget. And a 23% decrease from actual 2024, which just speaks volumes about what came in at the end of 2024. It's $250,000 under the estimated year-end 2025 budget and $50,000 over under what we projected this time last year for sales tax. So in the 2025 adopted budget, that's kind of a lot, but
Makes sense.
just trying to, when you look at this Broncos graph, like not quite sure what might happen, and then you look at economic forecasts and everything. That's how we pinpointed the sales tax revenue. And we're only fixated on that because it's a big part of our budget.
Makes good sense. We've always done a good job of being conservative about that and served us well, so that's good. Okay, what else? Anybody else got any? That project?
I'm gonna bring it up during the SMPA meeting, but we discussed it in the past. I would love to see solar on the roof of all town buildings. And I'm wondering if SMPA has any appetite to financially or physically contribute to that.
Is that part of our impact accelerator grant? We're kind of in a limbo.
Yeah, I think we're kind of holding on that.
So you
I think
probably on it.
If we were to be so fortunate as to get the vision version of the impact accelerator grant, there could be money in there for doing that.
Awesome.
Right now, there's 1.9 million in that 5 million budget to cover all the 6 solar systems at Green Street Park. We could rearrange that and prioritize some buildings, but the likelihood that we're gonna get that vision.
I think Green Street Park needs to prioritize over on buildings because we pushed off Green Street Park for so long, like.
I'm good with that. I just want to get it maybe on the 10-year, maybe like somewhere in
The unfortunate reality is that the tax incentives, not that we would, well, actually would apply to us, are going away for residential solar. This would effectively be considered in that bucket, but the new administration has zapped the funds, but.
So we wouldn't qualify for the Zoom.
No, we would, under the new ITC rules that the Biden administration put in place, nonprofits can qualify for that now. So, but that got nixed as well. Now, having said that, there, Susan Holland, who I've been working with SMPA, there are REAP grants. There's some other grants available in the future that we can look at trying to tap for that specific purpose.
Okay.
maybe just add solar to 10-year.
But it's part of our net zero 2030 goal to get to net zero, and the easiest way to do that is to self-generate, not just, spend money with totally green.
But Polly makes a really good point about all of the things that are in the Impact Accelerator grant to get us to net zero should be in pieces put into the capital improvement plan. So that way, if we do not get the vision grant, we can be looking at them. That's a really good point.
That's a really good point, and we're
Thanks.
Preston's gonna address that later, is that we're assuming we may get the $500,000 piece of that grant, which has a 5% matching requirement, which is $25,000 that we don't currently have a budget line item. So we need to consider
I think-
setting aside 25K.
I think the takeaway is everyone's giving a nod to adding some of those pieces to the capital improvements plan.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. And I just received the full budget for all three of those tranches today. I sent it to you. From the actual impact accelerator grant proposal, I got just the budget spreadsheet reported to. Sure. But that's a great idea, you know, just even if it's in the 10-year plan. let's
Just
go
keeps it
ahead.
on our radar.
Okay,
And remember that the match for the Impact Accelerator Grant, which we are hopeful for, is not currently in the budget. We're gonna have to come back and do a budget supplement or revision, because we won't hear before December 15th. If we're awarded, and the budget will be adopted by then, so.
What was the match, 10% or 20%?
Five by then?
It'd be really low, yeah.
Terry was just talking about,
Yeah.
20 grand.
It'd be 25 grand if we get the 500,000. If we get the 2 million, which would be great, then it would be 100,000.
But
But,
still,
but by the way, that
pennies
could
on
be
the
spent
green.
over 3 years. It wouldn't, you'd almost divide that by 3 on an annual basis to impact this year's. budget.
got it, yeah.
Okay,
So 5/3.
Fingers crossed.
Preston, is there anything else you need from us, Pam?
Well, Pam has not gone through the water or sewer.
Oh,
fund.
water and sewer, right?
So I just added that into the 10-year, the solar panels on the facilities, and the water fund is there's no items that are yellowed in the water fund, and all items are completed on here. Is there any questions the council has on this water fund? Of course, now this doesn't include capital projects that's located in another part of the budget.
Right.
Okay, and sewer fund is the same. There's nothing in here that's highlighted because we have all the numbers on here that we needed. We move through the budget, then we get into the capital projects. There are 2 capital projects for next year. One is the completion of the water line replacement on Moffett Street. And the other is the completion. Preston's hoping for completion of Beaver Creek Diversion Project. These numbers are as good of a guess as we could reach. But we're balancing the budget with these numbers, and hopefully, especially on Beaver Creek Diversion, will come in lower. Are there any questions on the budget? Are there any questions on any of the items contained in the expenditure list?
Not for me, anybody have anything?
I expected to give them 1%, Pam. Just kidding. No, yeah, that's a lot of work. Thank you for putting that all together.
It made me chuckle, and it's not my observation, it was Michelle's, that we have 600 in there for life preserved for the sewer treatment.
Gary said, who wants to swim there anyway?
But I think that's the big point, is you don't want to swim there and the water is moving. And so the water, like the bubbles in the water actually make it really hard to stay on top of the water, so if you fall in, you're kind of SOL. And you need to have a very tossed to you.
And our insurance carrier will be happy.
And our insurance.
And it's
So
more-
the-
it's more- it's very important. Thank you,
The
Jeff.
only changes that I have then are, we're reducing the ending fund balance by 35,000 by adding 2 line items into the general fund budget.
Then one other thing I want to follow up on, because we committed to it at the retreat, was to look at, I think it's called Permazyme, an alternative to chlorine or magnesium chloride.
Yeah.
We ordered, I guess said part of this at the workshop for retreat. We ordered several gallons of that to test it out. When we went to test it out, Jeff Rivera went through a very hard time. He was the one spearheading that project. And a couple of days later, it got too cold. Long story short, what we've done, the research we've done and the people we've talked to have led us to believe, even without having tested it out, that it's a very high maintenance product. It can't be applied when, you know, below a certain temperature. You have to grade before and after. Water needs to be applied to make it the most effective. This is all just what we've heard, hearsay or whatever, without actually having tried it. And it's triple the cost of
So we have it now and it's stored somewhere that's temperature safe for next
Good
year?
question. Yes, we have it. We have a shop at the yard. We'll be, when the right time comes, we really do want to test it out, specifically on County Road 5. I think that'd be a good testing point. But we could try it in a couple different spots, maybe on 24 by the athletic park and some other spot. What'd you say?
North Cora.
Yeah, there you go. We can do 24. I just wanted to give an update there. We haven't been able to test this on.
Did you guys look into the piece parcel over there, the co-housing parcel, housing, helping glow, whatever that was gonna be happening, potentially put it about?
That's what we talked.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. We've had meetings with CDOT, yeah, the Help and Glow housing property. We've had meetings with CDOT, and there's actually a meeting tomorrow, that revolves around the home trust, potentially acquiring that property, but, stay tuned.
Oh, I thought when you were talking about that, you were talking about the employee housing at Firehouse or something when we were talking about housing. No, I remember that conversation. I thought we were talking about housing at a Firehouse, not that one.
No, let's talk about that.
Oh, I did not actually miss that whole conversation. Jesus.
You didn't black out, all is
I
well.
did not. I was like, how did I miss that? Okay, got it.
Okay.
So, Pam, anything else you want to cover?
I think we've got all the documents.
So last slide, just a look ahead for the workshop on December 3rd. First two, very similar to the agenda for today. Get everything finalized, have that council discussion and public comment, of course. And then the ad hoc review committee will have provided recommendations for community grant program awards. We did do a call for interest for that committee. I can't remember how many folks submitted emails saying they're interested in the committee, but that committee meets tomorrow. And so we did get some great interest. So we did do that.
Yep.
And then we'll have a draft strategic plan ready for you all to look at. And I'll get that out before the workshop. I put it on there. By next Friday, I'll send you all a draft to kind of look through.
Awesome.
Good job.
It is wild to me that we're gonna meet again so soon and it's December 3rd.
I don't understand.
Like.
I plotted out the rest of the year yesterday morning.
Oh my God.
Oh.
It's unbelievable.
Wasn't it just done before 5:30? Go us.
Great.
Meeting.
So we got 2 minutes.
No, I'm gonna be special.
I don't look at it.
You don't wanna see my legs, no?
Do we have to pound out or we,
But
do we have to, bring it to close? We have to do it?
no, we're covered. It's a live record.
Oh, yeah, they make up.
There's no fun stuff.
No one got any decompression time as the day. It's just like.
You guys can go to the, you go and do the, guys some like CPR more.
I do it on Zoom. Okay. Yeah, Joanne represents Lake City. I have to keep on standard.
I'm going down with the very active.
Yeah, I'm curious who,
I don't think anybody stepped up.
yeah, to be chair, vice chair, yeah, even like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you want.
This one.
Yeah, yeah, yes, 17, and they say that whole magnetic thing
Oh,
that
yeah, yeah.
with,
They're screwing all kinds of animals.
yeah, and I wonder if that was something, I have no idea. There's just no explanation, but I had to bring her home and she was hypothermic and. Yeah, it was insane, so she's at home resting, but she's doing okay, she saw Dr. today and he's like, she'll be just fine. She's on antibiotics to avoid pneumonia
From China.
or
Necklace.
right? What's it called, the apple things,
Oh, the,
tag,
well, those, I just said,
Tag.
yeah.
I just saw
you can
those,
AirTag your
those aren't,
dog.
those aren't the right things.
Which ones? Oh.
They require,
That's all right.
apparently, so you need to get an actual GPS version.
Okay. You can AirTag your dog.
Yeah,
Well, I just saw a bunch of, maybe it was false, but I saw a bunch of Facebook stuff says, don't use AirTag, Apple AirTags for your dog, use ones that are designed for specific GPS, that they rely on Bluetooth.
Well, I'm not gonna be like out in the wilderness.
I think that's funny, because your device shows that no matter where.
Nice to see you, maybe it's Bluetooth.
You can't, yeah, you can't just, yeah,
Pull it up and like, read it out.
Yeah, AirTag on it. Fine seat, no matter where it is.
Hi, Angie.
I
Hello.
don't know how they do it.
How you doing?
yeah.
How are you doing? I'm
Well,
okay.
I'd like to learn.
Haven't seen you in a while, except this morning on Zoom. Right?
Yeah.
I rescheduled my Pilates so I could be there.
But I'm
That's the one for
Yeah.
last- Pardon
Seemed
me?
like I
What
should
was the
show up,
bonus?
but
Yeah.
I like, I fully have that.
Use.
Leave that.
And I know you're looking at it closely, so. No, I have cross-stitching.
Yeah, I did. So it was.
I did have all these stuff. It's the
College, I was
same with
flying.
my, that's the
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't put that together until today.
Early twenties, here to be done.
I'm impressed with this, guys.
And revision again, like.
What? I'm impressed with them.
Couple years ago, I'm still legal.
Are you?
Drive,
Yeah.
right with that. But
It's
everything's
really responsive.
Yeah, I trying to read that, like, so I have glasses that I wear, or like, I'll put contacts.
All
on.
of us in these
So that
assessments going well.
That's the only time you work on it.
And I have prescription
Yeah.
glasses when I drive, just,
Dana made.
doesn't matter.
There you go.
So I would kind of make Denver, see the sign. When she said, it was like 5 years, I'm like,
Just for conservation.
Yeah, well, I have.
You're just like, nah.
I totally had in my head, you were
I
talking
just saw
about
a picture.
affordable housing, not about their own bridges.
Be to the Plainview. Really don't tell John something.
Do it.
Speaker's supposed to be.
Work with the things.
John, you ready?
Yeah.
Hey, Preston, you all ready?
Yeah.
Hey, Bo.
How about?
Good evening, council members, Mayor Clark, Ms. Kemp, Mr. Neal.
Wow, good evening.
Angie doesn't like it when I call her that. She's very relaxed. Preston makes me call him town administrator, town manager, Mr. Neal.
Sound like Brad.
Drinking.
Highest position at the town.
Tom, we're about to have an executive session.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
What time's it?
Happened in a half, 6.
Sorry.
No.
Thank you for understanding.
There,
I'm curious if, since we're having trouble with the speakers, the stuff's still going through the board, does the board go to YouTube or does?
that's what that's about.
Okay, so
It's not supposed to. Be.
So-
Executive session.
So I'll go ahead and read the citation.
that's part
Is that all right with you?
of, depends on.
Are you still there?
Yeah, thank you, Preston. If we could get a motion to go into executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-4024B for the purpose of receiving legal advice with respect to determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiation, developing strategy for negotiations, and or instructing negotiators concerning Mountain Lodge Ridgway.
So moved. Second. So with that.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously, thank you. We're all good.
All right, thank you. So it is Wednesday, November 12th. The time is 5:34 p.m. This is an executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-4024B for the purpose of receiving legal advice on a specific legal question and pursuant to 24-6-4024E concerning developing strategy for negotiations and/or instructing negotiators concerning the mountain lodger at Ridgway. For the record, I am the attorney for the town of Ridgway. This executive session is being electronically recorded. Also present at this executive session are the following persons. Turn it over to the room.
Preston Neal.
Josie Scoville.
Terry Schuyler.
Michelle Montague,
John Clark.
Beth Lakin,
Kevin Gravely.
Holly Kroger,
Pam Craft,
Angela Kemp.
I caution each participant to confine all discussions to the stated purpose of the executive session and warn that no formal action may occur in the executive session. If at any point in the executive session, any participant believes that the discussion is going outside the proper scope of the executive session, please interrupt the discussion and make an objection. As the attorney for the town of Ridgway, it is my belief that a portion of the discussion constitutes privileged attorney-client communication. Therefore, I'm recommending that no recording be kept of that portion of the executive session. Back on. All right. The time is now 6:05 p.m. and we will conclude the executive session. And oh, hold on. I hereby attest that the recording of this executive session reflects the actual contents of the discussion has been made in lieu of any written minutes to satisfy the recording requirements of the open meeting law. The town clerk will retain the recording for 90 days. The time is now 6:05 p.m. and we will conclude the executive session and return to the open meeting. The time is now 6:05 p.m. and the executive session has been concluded. The participants in the executive session were as follows: Bo, Erlen,
Preston Neal.
Josie Scoville.
Terry Schuyler.
John Clark.
Michelle Montague,
Beth Lakin,
Kevin Gravely.
Holly Kroger,
Pam Craft,
Angela Kemp.
For the record, if any person believes who participated in the executive session believes that any substantial discussion of any matter not included in the motion to go into executive session occurred during the executive session, or that any improper action occurred during the executive session in violation of the open meeting law, I would ask that you state your concern for the record. Hearing none, I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor.
Thanks, Bo. All right, open the door and go back into session. Thanks, Angie.
Oh, goodness, I'm tired today. I was on last night on my. Yeah. I'm just curious. But oils down. So I have. It's a breakfast. Or have you guys seen a steak? No, local. I just didn't hear what he said. So I'm gonna go to church. I am the first one to find that. What state or state wise. What's that? I don't know.
All right, thanks, everybody. Appreciate y'all being here. Just came out of an executive session, so thanks for your patience. First thing on the agenda is something that is very sad, but something that needs mentioning. This in the last couple of weeks, we lost a very important community member. Jennifer Nelson was a longtime Ridgway resident, married to one of our public works guys, Jeff Rivera, and also a valued member of our planning commission. And I consider Jennifer a really good friend. She was an amazing person, so open-hearted and good-hearted. And I'd just like to take a moment of silence to remember her and honor her. Thank you. Thank you. Jennifer, you'll be missed. All right, on to the regular agenda. First up is, are there any additions or deletions to these? Preston?
No, sir.
Dan?
Nope.
Okay. That brings us to adoption of the consent calendar.
I'm to adopt the consent.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, motion made second, all in favor? That's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. Motion passes unanimously then. Thank you. That brings us to public comments. This is established time for the public to address the council for items that aren't otherwise on the agenda. Anybody?
I actually prepared a pretty lengthy presentation because I thought that this was the time for that.
Well, it's limited to 5 minutes per person.
Right, is there any way I would be able to maybe reschedule that? To be able to talk to you guys? It's a budget proposal for the 2026 budget regarding all of the arts community here. And I've had about 20 returned interviews with all of the people who have filled it out to be here, and just wondering if there would be a better time to present that to you guys with all of the information and research attached.
But you want to do this before the budget's approved?
Yes.
What you're saying?
Yes.
Preston, you have any thoughts? Could we plug that into the December 3rd?
Yeah, December 3rd might be a good opportunity. There's a workshop on that, let's say December 3rd.
Okay.
We can make sure you have some time to. Yeah, make your.
Yeah, that would be perfect. Yeah, it's just a ton of research and links and all sorts of stuff, and I just didn't realize it was a 5-minute slot here, so. So December 3rd.
Yeah.
And then, is there gonna be a way to present it on a screen for you guys?
We'll coordinate with you.
Okay.
Name Tia.
Yes.
Yeah, Tia, I'll get your contact info, reach out, and we'll coordinate so that we have all your stuff and make sure we can get it on the screen.
Perfect.
That work?
Yep, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thanks for understanding. Anybody else? Okay, hearing none, that takes us to public requests and presentations. Item number 7 is presentation of the annual report for the Ridgway Community Garden. I see Chris is here. Take it away, Chris.
All right, I don't need to use that thing, do I?
No, it should be fine. The speakers aren't working tonight, so
Okay,
if any of us are talking too quietly, raise your hand, ask us to speak up. The microphones are working, so I think you'll be heard through that and be part of the recording,
okay,
but
Great.
do speak up.
okay, great. All right, thank you all for being here. We have this town council, we have the town of Ridgway, we have the Parks Committee to thank for the sustainability of this Ridgway Community Garden. When we were all talking this week, we were sort of surprising ourselves with the fact that next year will be our 8th year. And we kind of couldn't believe that. So we look at ourselves and say, wow, maybe we really can be sustainable into the future in a really powerful way. So are we still valuable to the residents of Ridgway? Yeah, indeed, I think we are. So this was a photo that was taken by one of our members this late fall. She captured that fantastic rainbow. And this is our mission statement to provide infrastructure and resources to the community with all ages. And one of the things that we've really focused on for this presentation and in this year is to really connect with all of our partnerships and collaborations around the town of Ridgway. So, oh, you know what, would you, before I forget, because I forgot to include a slide, this is my only slide that I have of, this was our big infrastructure project this year. These 3 share beds that we put in, thanks to a donation from Susie Mead. So we built these with the help of our garden stewards, filled them with a lot of compost and soil. And we're trying to teach our gardeners how to grow herbs and how to do flowering shrubs and show them what can survive well in the town of Ridgway at 7,000 feet. So that's the only slide you'll see of those, but they were really beautiful this summer. Okay. So this is our board of directors. This is going to change a little bit this year. Judy Chamberlain, who is here tonight, has been with us in steering committee and BOD for 11 years, so she's ready to say goodbye. So we're bidding a fond farewell. Dave Peterson, who has been our membership coordinator, is going to step into her position as member at large. And then we're going to gain, as of last night, a new member, Tricia Savage, is coming on board, and she's going to take Dave's position. So the magical thing about this board is that we're a really well-working board. We all put in a lot of time and energy making this garden really productive. So here we are starting to build community with our 113 adults this year, our 26 children. And we only had 5 people leave the garden this year. Usually we have kind of an attrition rate of 6 or 7. So we kept some people on this year. And so we filled all 54 beds. We didn't have to turn anybody away. All right, next slide. So this is our website. This is our frontal page. This is how we educate our gardeners about what's happening in the garden month to month. So we have summer work sessions where we come together to support the garden. We always need to wood chip it, we need to weed it, etc. And then we have special educational opportunities with me doing things like bedside chats or teaching gardening at the library. And then Val Schwark, who donated a weather station to us, and so we can always check and see what's going on in the garden. All right. What we also did this year, thanks to Lisa Erickson, our webmaster, she added an impact page because we really wanted to talk about our partnerships and how strong they are for us. So anyone can go to this impact page and see all the collaborators that we have with the garden. So here we go, Voyager, Ray County Food Bank. Go ahead, Preston, next slide. So here's Voyager. This was really fun this summer. Midsummer, we had all these teens in the garden. They came in with some long faces. But then when I started walking them around the garden and said, you can pick that, you can taste this, you can eat it, you can put it in your bags, they got really excited. And then they filled up their bags and they went back to Voyager and they actually made kale pesto and chard paella with Chef Joe from Taco Nar. They took that food back to their family and showed them what could happen in the community garden. So pretty cool. All right. And then another partnership with your Ray County Food Bank. This is, by the way, Tricia Savage. She's going to be our new board member. And she really pushed the gathering of food this year, which landed her on the board because I cajoled her into joining. So next year, she's going to try to set up a system where we actually give for a longer period of time, from early summer to late fall. Okay, Preston. And then women, infant and children, via the system that Amy Erickson uses, where instead of going to a family's home, she actually brings two families into the garden, teaches the little ones how to grow food, and, you know, hopefully changes their palates for adulthood, and will move them into the older age right into the garden. So a fabulous mentorship program via Amy, right? And then the Ridgway Apiary, which of course the town of Ridgway also supports, right? With that 85-foot square plot that they have out there just to the south of us. And something really cool happened in the apiary this summer. A family of 13 came from out of state and said, we'd like a tour of this bee place. So Fred Boyle and Judy Hazen had bee suits for all of them. They dressed them all up. And this little guy actually toured them through the supers. And they had a fantastic time. And this little guy, I think his name is Jameson maybe? I think he's only 13 years old. He actually ended up winning the #1 agricultural products at the, what's that?
County Fair.
Thank you, at the Ouray County Fair. He won first place for his honey. And so now Judy and Fred are calling him the Ridgway Whisperer. Then we also have this collaboration and have for many years with the library, where they order seeds from around the United States. They repackage them so that our gardeners and the rest of the community can come in, pick up a seed packet. Our gardeners go back to the garden, they plant the seed, they bring it to fruition, the flower and seed, they collect the seed, plant it again the next year. And so we're creating sustainability with the Ridgway Public Library in that way. And then I teach a class every spring, and this was the one that I taught this year. And it's really fun. They get 30 people each time to show up for that spring class. And then we also do this is a nationwide event. Seed Up Saturday is what it's called across the nation, and we're starting to do it. We only have a couple dozen people, but a bunch of us went to Paonia this year where hundreds of people show up. So we're hoping that we can keep building that. Okay, Preston. And then this is the ever popular sand pit for the kids. They're digging their way to China. This is fantastic because the little ones are occupied while the adults are growing veggies. So they can learn that it's a place for hard physical labor, but a lot of fun at the same time. And then finally, our community stewards. We started this program back in 2023 via Agnieszka, who was our past president. And we have these 3 great garden stewards. They don't have a garden plot. They just come in and volunteer for us. And they learn some gardening skills. They just want to give back to the community. Right. And then Dave Peterson, who was our membership coordinator, started this year, coffee, croissants, and conversation. So we just get together on a Saturday or Sunday morning and we just talk. We don't do any physical labor. We don't typically even talk about gardening. We just have a fun time together. And then this was our most successful event this summer. The Women's Club of Ouray continues to support us financially. And so we did this big event for them in August. You can see how many of the gals came. They brought a bunch of potluck dishes. We, as a board, brought a bunch of potluck dishes. And we had a fabulous time. It was an evening event, very successful. And so here we go into the next year, building more community with our partnerships and hopefully having all of you in the garden next spring when we first open up the beginning of May. We'd love to have you all come and visit and see what we're doing physically. And bless you for all of your support.
Thank you. Great presentation. Thank you, Chris. Anybody have any questions for Chris?
Always
Keep up the good work.
This is awesome. Thank you.
It's a Ridgway treasure. True. Anybody in the audience have any comments or questions? Okay. That takes us to.
Mayor, if I can just jump in.
Yeah.
Just want to recognize it as a school night. I'm wondering if my advisory council applicants are here. Would you be amenable to jumping ahead if everyone?
Absolutely.
So Sunny, Sloan, Taya, Orion, and Mason, are you all here? I see Sloan, I see. I see four. Four. Oh, Sunny's right there. So you all, yeah, all five. So
Four. All right, so, thank you all for being here. I'm trying to find that, is item
Number 10.
10.
yeah, thank you, Mayor.
Yeah.
Page 120.
Yeah, all right, well, this is exciting because we haven't had this many people apply for the youth council, in a while, so great that you're all here. This is very informal, usually we, offer for you guys to say anything if you want, sometimes people up here have questions. How do you want to proceed?
I'd like to hear it from the candidates if they want to say something.
Just a quick blurb on what you're looking for out of youth advisory council would be super helpful.
What made you think that you'd like to be involved? You have any thoughts? You have any suggestions? Let me start with you, Sonny.
I think one of the things you guys are gonna collectively do is come up with a group project, so if you have any ideas of what you think that might be, I'd love to hear too.
Yeah, you want to come up?
But first, why don't you tell us what your favorite music is? Let's start with that.
Icebreaker.
Name icebreaker, why
Okay.
would we account for?
My name is Sunny. My favorite music right now, I think my two favorite bands are probably the Magnetic Fields and Midlake. They're my two favorites. And what was the last one? Sorry.
Just what made you think you wanted to get involved with
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm really excited because I really love our community and I really have it's done so much for me, like the pride events, the like music in the parks. I just have really loved to engage in community activities. And I think it'd be really cool to be involved in helping create that and create that for other youth.
Great, awesome.
And I have a quick question for you. Both you and Sloan suggested wanting a safe space for teens. What does that look like for you?
I think just like a place where like a middle space between where teenagers can congregate and like a space in between work and school and outside of Voyager and volunteering, a just area for them to come and be able to talk and stuff.
When it comes to fruition, the next year's the Green Street Sustainability Park, hopes that the Garden State area are currently part of, will have a outdoor learning education center, which theoretically will have solar on top, which was earmarked for something like this.
Like a teen hangout area.
Teen hangout.
Awesome.
Great. Who wants to go next?
Thanks, Sonny.
Thanks, Sonny. Go for it. I like a brave soul.
Do you guys have any questions?
Your name?
Identify yourself.
Why you want to be on council? Then what?
Probably, at the moment, maybe Lincoln Park. Which
Are
I know that's old.
Now, what's your name?
What's your name?
Mason.
Lisa will not judge you for, Lincoln Park, it's always great. From when I was in high school.
And tell us a little bit about what your thoughts are about being on this youth council.
So I heard about the Youth Advisory Council from Patrick, who was on it last year, and Lauren. And they recommended it and they set up the pickleball tournament, I believe. And I thought setting up a community event like that would be pretty fun and be a good way to give something back to the community and just have something as a teenager that we've built for the community, sort of.
What kind of event?
I'm not sure yet. We're have to brainstorm that.
That's right.
Mason, I was really struck by your conversation about hearing from prior youth advisory members about helping influence our decisions up here, and I know that for my part, and most of us up here, we still haven't ever nailed down what that back and forth looks like, and sometimes we've gotten feedback just because you happen to be here for an update, but I think we really, really value and look to hear from our youth advisory council to understand what our teenagers think and believe should be happening in town. So I just want you to know that I was really struck by that.
I think that's the biggest opportunity with the council, is to actually give you guys feedback instead of you just hearing it through a chain of different people,
Yep.
like telephone.
That's why we started.
Yeah.
So that's great,
So I think hopefully we can take advantage of that this year.
right?
Quick question. In your application, you said you're passionate about small issues that you believe are / have been overlooked and maybe only issues that affect the youth. What small issues are those? How can we help you?
The first
Sorry for
one that
putting
comes
us
in, I'm not really sure.
Totally.
I feel like as a city council, you guys have influence, a lot of influence on the town. So like maybe that road that's blocked off that was being built for like 6 months. It would be very nice as a teenager to be able to cut through there instead of getting jammed up in traffic here.
That's we're working on it.
But stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe issues with the school, because I feel like you guys could help there.
Totally. For all ears, let us know how we can help you.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Who wants to go next? Okay, come on up. Tell us your name, your favorite kind of music.
My name's Orion. My favorite kind of music is kind of like bluegrass, nice and chill.
Name a band. What's your favorite band? Billy String.
I listen to a lot of like really old classical music recently, actually.
Ooh, sick.
It kind of locks me in on like schoolwork and stuff. So old in the way.
Older than that.
I don't know. I kind of just wanted to get more involved with the community. I want to continue my sister's whole movement with carry on reusables. It was all about removing single-use plastic bags from stores and stuff like that. It was really cool, and try to continue on that. But other than that, I kind of just wanted to give the little input of the youth of the town and try to make some changes.
Great.
Any questions?
No,
That's perfect.
that was great.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. Who's next?
Hi, my name's Taya. Music? Oh gosh. I've gotten into country lately. And
Say that so apologetically.
I don't know. I've never really listened to it, but lately, I don't know, but
Flavor country.
you know, kind of depends on my mood, but one of my favorites, one of my favorite singers is Joan Baez. She really reminds me of my grandpa, because when we were little, we'd always just like listen to her while we were in the car, so.
Cool.
Yeah, but kind of like Mason, I learned about Youth Town Council through my older sister Lauren and Patrick, who were part of this in the past. And I just think it's so important to be involved in your community, especially as a teenager, because there's so much constructive feedback you can give to the adults around you that like communicate what you need to make your people happy and make sure that your community is a place that everyone can enjoy. And Chris's presentation really, really did strike me, because just like the community garden is so important, and I work with Voyager and I spend a lot of time volunteering at the apiary, and I see how important it is to just keep our community together through little things like that, and I want to be involved in make a difference as much as I can.
That's awesome. That's great. Well spoken. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Last but not least,
Favorite music, Sloan?
Yeah, I'm Sloan. I listen to a lot of different bands, but recently I've kind of been getting into like maybe like Sublime and Smashing Pumpkins.
They're playing at Red Rock this summer. I just saw that.
Yeah, I just asked I was telling my dad about it, in hopes that he might consider tickets. Well, I kind of just heard about the Youth Advisory Council through, I'm currently part of Hub, which is a youth organization, help us break boredom, and it's basically just organizing activities for teens around the county and like kind of just creating more opportunities because we're in such a small town. But I've just been kind of wanting to maybe expand out of it because it is very middle school heavy and like younger middle school. So my mom just told me about she had heard about the youth council and she thought that maybe it'd be something I'd be interested in. So, and I agree. So yeah.
awesome. Questions for Sloan?
I just,
Take it away.
the same question as Sunny. What are your suggestions that where teens can have a safe space?
I think just having a place where teens maybe always know like I can like I have a place where I can go and just be comfortable if like my house, if I just don't like if I have too much work and I just need a break, or if I'm feeling overwhelmed, like a place you can just go and like know like, oh, from these hours I can just go and be with like people who like are similar to me or maybe going through the same things, and we can just like hang out and just not have to stress about stuff. Yeah.
Awesome.
That was one of the things you had mentioned is what does it look like to be successful in this position? So maybe later on we can hear what you think that looks like. After you've had time to show us what it's like to be successful.
Great. Thank you very much. All right, who wants to make a motion to appoint all 5 of these wonderful young people?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You have a comment?
Yeah, I just want to say how inspiring it is that you all showed up here and feel like you want to participate in your community and know that you can make a difference. Like this, like sets you, I mean, I'm sure you're already on the path, this not specifically, but that's how you'll be successful in life. Like there's so many people in this community that never come to one of these meetings, you know, and you might hear them complain on the street, but they don't participate. So way to start off early, and I look forward to working with all of you guys and girls. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're here.
Agreed. Welcome aboard.
Let's go.
Thank you all for being here.
Yes.
Be in touch soon.
He's the taskmaster, by the way.
All right, that's awesome. That takes us to item number 8, annual presentation from Eco Action Partners regarding programs, projects, and initiatives. I see you guys are in person today.
Thanks for your patience.
Yeah, right.
That was amazing.
These are hard acts to follow.
That's a lot of pressure.
Well, thank you so much for having us this evening. We'll try to keep it quick. I'm Emma Drone. I'm the Executive Director of Eco Action Partners.
And I'm Siobhan Montoya Lavender. I'm the Development Director.
So for anyone who's not familiar, Eco Action is our regional sustainability nonprofit that serves the town of Ridgway. Our mission is to provide data-centered solutions that empower our partners to drive climate action and create more sustainable communities. In practice, what that looks like are these intersectional program areas, from emissions tracking and data analysis, comprehensive on-the-ground programming, regional collaboration through the Snuffles Energy Board, and individual jurisdiction support, helping you all meet your climate goals. All of our programs tie together to meet the primary goal of collective resilience for our community.
Okay, so we're
often talking about climate, and I know it can seem like an added expense to things. But I wanted to frame what you're gonna hear today as this idea of understanding and knowing that there is a cost to doing nothing. There's a cost for business as usual. I'm not gonna read through these numbers, but these were pulled from some state data we have, just to frame that we really want to invest in a sustainable future because it's going to save us money in the long term. Go ahead, Preston. Okay, so what is business as usual? You've probably seen this a million times, but I'm gonna keep putting it up there until that red line gets lower. So that is our current business as usual mission scenario, and we really want to align with the state and Ridgway's adopted goals and get reduction of 50% emissions reduction by 2030, which is coming right up. Next one. Okay, so where are these emissions coming from? Again, you may have seen this before, but I love a good pie chart, and we are data nerds here. And you can see that residential buildings is a really big piece of our pie. We also have vehicles, that's typical of most regions. And we want to pull on different levers for this pie. And so that is how, go ahead, Preston. That is how, I'm not gonna read this either, but this is how all the program areas really are relating directly back to the emissions and like where we can make the most impact. We also try to relate them to where there's the most like benefit to human and what is the most easily achievable and successful for each unique community. Go ahead.
So those were all of our programs on the screen there. And we're going to give a couple highlights for a few of them. Otherwise, we'd have you here all night. The first is the Sneffels Energy Board. This group was formed back in 2009 and brings together 10 different governments across our region, along with our utility provider and other community partners to work collaboratively on climate programming. It helps to create collaborative funding opportunities, and eco-action helps supporting with collective learning, developing new programs, and helping each other out in reaching those climate goals. Next.
Just because acronyms are tough, CEOs call our energy office, CAP is our climate action plan, and GHG is green office.
Thank you. I need to get better. The problem in the climate world. So the Sneffels Energy Board work plan this year was voted on by the members and included 4 priority actions. One was community outreach around our regional climate action plan, making sure that we have trust and buy-in in the community. Building energy policies, understanding how we can move that building piece of the pie that is about 50% down through policy. Expansion of the regional green grants program, which we'll talk about more in a minute here, and EV charging infrastructure. And that's one that I wanted to touch on because it really points to the importance of this collaborative board model where Ridgway can put in as many EV chargers as you all are able to and want, but without that connectivity piece, it doesn't work. And if people have range anxiety and don't feel comfortable getting to Ridgway in the first place, then having the infrastructure doesn't matter. So being able to communicate with the communities in our region that are already connected with our workforce, with our tourism, is going to be crucial in success for that area. Next. Up next is our student and outreach programming. We view students as agents of change and can see the broad community impact that they have. That was really inspiring to sit through that.
Did any of you have Molly in your classroom when you were younger? No,
I know.
It's a younger demographic.
But one exciting opportunity that I wanted to mention is that this Saturday, we're hosting the first regional youth climate summit. And I think we have 15 high school students from Ridgway signed up right now, but we're really excited. It's going to be a full day opportunity on Saturday where students can learn about policy, create a climate action plan for something that they want to implement in their community, and really learn from different folks who are in the industry who have green careers in whatever sense that may be in the nonprofits working. And we have SMPA folks coming, we have government folks coming, so it's going to be a really exciting opportunity.
Is that here in town?
It is in Telluride at the Science and Innovation Center. Yeah. And so far this year, we've reached over 1,000 students with our programs, which is over 300 more than we reached in 2024. So we're really excited to see our student programming growing and now have offerings for students across all of K through 12. In our general outreach as well, we've seen a big growth in that and have reached over 3,600 people in educational events, workshops, things like that. Next. Up next is our Colorado Affordable Residential Energy Care Program, another acronym for you. This program provides free audits and weatherization upgrades for homes up to 80% of area median income. We've been able to implement over $1 million in free weatherization upgrades since the program began in 2016. And the program not only works to address utility bills and lower those for folks who are often living paycheck to paycheck, but it also is able to address health and safety concerns. So if you go to the next slide. I don't want to read this whole quote, but we often get this feedback from this program that feels really meaningful and is a great reminder of why we're doing this work, of folks who have gas leaks, whose homes don't have safe heating for the winter, and being able to get to them and have these upgrades for free that are changing lives in our region.
And in Ridgway, we've had several people go through Ridgway this year.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so what if you are not 80% area median income or below, but you still want to do some really cool home improvement projects or community projects? Well, that's where the regional green grants comes in. I love this program, and it's really designed to catch people in that kind of service gap area, right? Where maybe you don't qualify for low income, but heat pumps are expensive. And we want to help people to get over the financial hurdles to install them. And so this year is the first regional green grant year. It's a pilot year. So we'll be back with more information once we see how it goes. The application deadline for anyone who's listening who has applied is Friday. So please apply by Friday. And yeah, this is just a great way to tackle the piece of our pie that is building the missions by supporting people financially and doing upgrades to their home that also make their energy bills go down and make their home more comfortable. Okay, so how are we going to get people to install these heat pumps and these EV chargers and all the new energy infrastructure? Well, we have a workforce development program. If there are any young people in this room who are interested in the workforce development program, Molly will be coming to your school any day now. But yeah, the idea here is we target not only the youth, so high school students that are graduating, but also folks who are in job transition, or we have, some seasonal workers in our communities. And so how do we tap into that workforce and say, hey, when you're not doing your seasonal job, do you want to train to be a lineman? Do you want to install heat pumps? Do you want to have these other skills? And that really helps keep those jobs that are quite high paying, helps keep them local. So we're not always contracting folks from Montrose or even the Front Range for some of these jobs. Another quote that just of a lot of success of someone who's gone through the program, the workforce development program, we actually pay folks to go through trainings because they can be costly. We want to make sure we're removing that hurdle. Thank you to FMPA and Tri-State and our partners in the workforce development program.
So I quickly wanted to touch on the fact that all of our programs are run regionally and also here in the community of Ridgway, and talk about the value of that model. Our community here is deeply connected to the surrounding environment with shared watershed, air quality, fire risks, and regional tourism challenges. So these regional programs make sure that we have impact across all of those areas. It also helps us to leverage resources for our resource-constrained communities, making sure that we can streamline administration of these programs so that we can be efficient with our time and our funding. And we've also seen that policymakers and grantors are often more responsive to these types of coalitions where we can have a broader impact than each of our individual communities could have on their own. And lastly, all of our work aims to support a strong local ecosystem-based economy and protect the quality of life here in Ridgway for our future generations.
Okay, so looking ahead, I just want to emphasize that I recognize that we are in a challenging time financially. We're in a challenging time when it comes to moving the needle on our natural environment and the resiliency against wildfires, against risks, against high energy prices. And I just appreciate all of you accepting us for this presentation, and looking forward, we want to hear from you what your priorities are, because really there's a lot of levers we could pull on. The climate action plan is very long, and we're just happy to say, hey, you guys really are interested in this one piece, great. We're going to throw resources into focusing on that one piece and get stuff done.
And the last piece of that I'll mention is that Siobhan's position was fully grant funded from another Colorado Energy Office grant that we received, with the sole purpose of supporting our governments with capacity to find funding and develop new climate action plan programs. So she's here, she's a resource for you. I'm not alone in these presentations anymore, and we have a whole other person to help with these projects. So I'm plugging her as a resource, reach out, and yeah,
I'm here, it's free labor. Yeah, give me a call.
I'd like to give a big shout out to Siobhan's effort in doing the heavy lifting on the Impact Accelerator grant. She
press 89.9% of that grant.
We'll pause until we get it, but we all get it done.
For doing it.
Yeah.
And if we don't get it.
Yeah, huge. And if you hear of other ones, shout out, and I can work with you on other grant applications too. And get clever with funding too. I want to just highlight that In Norwood, there's a specific type of solar project that there was some interest in from the community, believe it or not, that came to us. And we couldn't find funding for it. And then actually we're like, okay, well, what if we got this School of Mines class to do it for us as part of their capstone project for free? And we were able to actually secure that. So like, you know, I'm open to kind of being creative in how we can get stuff done.
That's huge. And the second shout out has to go to Emma. Recently at Mountain Town 2030, she was a finalist in the Mountain Catalyst Award along with John Clark. So she's been recognized among 30 or 40 major mountain communities, including all the ski resorts from Winter Park to Steamboat to Vail to Aspen, as a local leader in sustainability. So
Questions, comments, concerns?
Awesome.
great presentation.
Thank you. All right, thank you guys.
Anybody in the audience have questions?
Oh yeah, I mean, I have a question.
I need to go to the youth summit on Friday, sign up for that.
We appreciate Eco Action Partners.
Like faith and.
Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, that was awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks for
All right.
driving all this way tonight too.
I just live in Placerville.
Okay.
All right, item number 9, annual presentation from San Miguel Power Association. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you. All right. Speaking of tough acts to follow, thank you, Eco Action Partners. I always love when Eco gets to go around and do their presentation, because I get to piggyback and I get to, and they're really good about helping schedule these updates. So, of course, I'm Alex Shelley, Communications Executive for San Miguel Power Association, and I want to give you this update tonight. This is part of a campaign that we started doing a few years ago to get to our communities, town councils, and county boards of county commissioners, and really just share information. So I don't have an ask tonight. I mainly just want to help you all know what's going on with our cooperative and have a chance to ask me any questions. So we are, of course, also a nonprofit, and we are member owned. We're owned by you and by all the members of this community. We are guided by a mission, and that mission is, among other things, to provide safe, reliable, cost-effective, and environmentally responsible electricity. So all of that, in order to make all of that happen, we have a structure, and leadership, of course, is very important in that. So just a couple of quick announcements. These are kind of good news items. In our operations department, we've had 2 promotions, both of which just came up through the ranks. So we had our service planner, Bird Williams, some of you may know him, was recently promoted to the service planning supervisor. Very important position. Bird started out as an apprentice lineman for us and has really kind of worked his way up. And then another similar story, our actual operations manager, who is in charge of the entire operations department, is now Eric Pottorff. He took the reins from Dwayne on that, and he is also a 20-year veteran of San Miguel Power. So he brings all this experience and local experience to the role. And so we're excited to have the 2 of them occupying that space. Another announcement we wanted to make, someone else who's sort of joining our ranks, they're independent, is our new utility locate partner. So locates, just to explain, anytime, if you've ever seen our advertisements, hey, dial 811 before you dig, what's going to happen when you do that is someone will come out and mark your electric lines among gas lines and the others, so that you can stay safe when you're doing your project. So Novo Utility Services is our new locate partner, and we're very excited that they have come on board and are helping us in that regard. They have 25 years of industry experience and a commitment to excellence, and they're already bringing great value to our members. So we're really happy to announce that. So a big part, speaking of Eric, one of his priorities as operations managers, of course, is reliability, and he's put a real focus on that. To go along with that, we have several reliability projects that are in the works. These are long-term projects. And the one that most directly affects us here in this room is the Red Mountain Electrical Reliability and Broadband Improvement Project. I told myself to slow down when I said it because it's a mouthful. But it's actually a very critical project for this area. Reliability in terms of electricity comes from redundancy. So we have a main line that serves this area and Uray, all of Uray County. Red Mountain is our backup line. That line was originally constructed in 1928. It's been maintained, it's been patched, but nothing lasts forever. So back in 2023, our board of directors finally said, that's it, we need to replace this line. And so we took on this project at that time. So what we're kind of the progress there is, it's not optimistic to say, I think we're about halfway done. But what we did was initially, we went through a right-of-way clearing project that was back in 2023. So we took those corridors where those power lines are going through, trimmed them back and made them safe. This of course had a fire protection benefit as well, in addition to clearing that area for the work. Then in 2024, we did a section from the Idorado substation to Red Mountain. Following that, this year, we went from Red Mountain to the turnoff at the Alpine Loop turnoff. So we're doing different sections. Next year, we're going to be focusing on substation work and just acquisition of materials. It is a project in and of itself, and we're just dedicating next year to just doing that. And then the following year, we'll work from the Alpine Loop to Uray, to the Uray substation. And then the final section will be going from the Idorado sub to Borough Bridge. When we close in that line, that will be the completion of the single biggest infrastructure project that SMPA has ever taken on. So it's a big project. It's got a lot of stages, but it is going well. The work this year finished a week early, which was nice for people who wanted to travel because it did involve road closures. And we thank you for being a community on one end of Highway 550 for your cooperation and understanding as we make that a reality. So next. Going along with some of the messaging that EcoAction brought to us tonight, we also have goals for our communities and our community members who want to incorporate renewable energy, who want to incorporate beneficial electrification, which is a term that has multiple definitions. Basically, is any measure that you can take that is going to either improve your quality of life while also replacing a fossil fuel, which has benefits for our greenhouse gas goals, and also helps to support the stability of the grid. So we have rebates that support that, and we're always looking to help our members to make choices and changes that help us as a whole community be more sustainable. In terms of strictly renewable energy, there's kind of two sides of the equation. There's the wholesale power side and then our local side, which is affected by the wholesale. So our wholesaler is Tri-State Generation Transmission. They have committed through their responsible energy plan to 60% renewables in their energy mix by the end of this year and 70% by 2030. These are massive changes. Tri-State serves 4 rural electric cooperatives across 4 states. So these are huge projects, and the change has been steady, and we're excited to see that. So that affects all the electricity that we're using right now. Locally, we also have some local generation projects that have been incorporated under Tri-State's Policy 115. And that's a little carve out of the contract that we have with them that allows us to generate locally. Well, the news this year is that Tri-State decided to move the 5% cap on that local generation up to 20%, which is really exciting because it gives us the opportunity to look for more projects in our area. It is currently, it's past Tri-State, but Tri-State is regulated by FERC, another acronym for you, which means Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. So it's there now, and the decision is not yet final, but we are hopeful that they'll come back with that 20%. Another aspect or another policy at Tri-State that affects us is a new policy that they call their Bring Your Own Resource. And so this is an opportunity for electric cooperatives like us to propose a project to Tri-State and then have that be part of Tri-State's portfolio, but then lock in a price for the energy generated at that facility for us. So this is a hedge against rising electricity costs. So very, very solid strategy for us. We were able to secure a $9.8 million federal grant for a proposed project. And that project is a 20 megawatt solar array located in Natarita. Right now, there is, and that's Montrose County. Right now, there's a moratorium on all solar installations in Montrose County. So we've been watching with great interest as this issue makes its way through a little bit of a crooked road of policy decisions. But we are eager and hopeful that Montrose County will come up with a land use code that is well thought out and that allows this project to go through because of the benefits for the communities, which would include tax revenue of over $100,000 a year. As I mentioned, the hedge against wholesale power costs, and also relatively locally produced energy for over 16,000 average US homes. So we're excited, and we'll see where it shakes out.
Alex, can I interject on those two items, the policy one,
please?
BYOR. The two biggest challenges with going forward with being able to manifest going beyond 5% generation in the 115 policy, and the same issue with the BYOR is pushback from local municipalities in citing the solar arrays. And that's something I want to bring attention to this council, is that we have, SMPA has this opportunity to increase the percentage of local generation with all of the benefits you might imagine, including reducing transmitted losses and the cost, as well as just the fact that you're not having to import even the small percentage of fossil fuels when you generate locally. But the biggest challenge is finding places to put them. And so, we've had our own little challenges with the Green Street Park. There's challenges with all of the places that SMPA has looked to place these solar arrays. I implore this council to take this issue seriously, because as they have this opportunity to do this, SMPA could step up and help a town could step up and help SMPA look for acceptable sites. In the case of the BYOR, it's being stymied by the Planning Commission in Montrose County because of ideology, by the board opposition. Yeah, by Board of County Commission. Sorry, yeah. So that's the rub. They have this $10 million grant to go forward, and they're being blocked by local ideology. So and a lot of that is NIMBYism, which is part of the panel that I participated on at Mount 2030 with Eco Action Partners. That was the theme of it, and it's a big theme. So it's something that we need to step up as a council to facilitate.
Yeah, and you mentioned the siting. That's another benefit of this project, is it's located right next to a substation. So we don't need to build infrastructure to get to a sub. It's right there. So it's just another of the benefits of this project. Then, of course, most of you have heard the term microgrid, so I'll go through the definition fairly quickly. The idea of a microgrid is you can section off a part of the greater grid during a power outage, and that section can stay on and generate power for itself. Perfect example is the microgrid that we introduced when we did our ribbon cutting over at the Space to Create. Some of you were there, some of you spoke. Such a cool project, and we're very excited about it. Like to announce we're working on another one at the SMPA yard. We will be putting solar panels on top of carports. So nice double use and an excellent way to generate 100+ kilowatts of local solar energy. And that's just going to be right at our office, right across the way. I think we're going to break ground on that probably by the end of the month. It's coming up. So we're very excited about that. That, of course, leverages DOLA grants, Department of Local Affairs, and leverages the income tax credit, which is really nice. Eco Action mentioned EV adoption. Here's a really cool fact. State of Colorado leads the nation in terms of EV adoption. Maybe some of you knew that, but that's a really exciting figure. So in the electric industry, sometimes we get the question, can the grid handle EVs? And so that's really kind of maybe the wrong question to ask. It's more about when EVs charge and what impact that has. So it's more of how do we get our grid to be EV ready and EV compatible? That's one of the reasons, certainly not the only reason, but one of the reasons that SMPA proposed and then moved to a time of use rate, because a big part of making an electric vehicle work for a community rather than against a community is to encourage EV owners and drivers to charge outside of what we call the peak. And the peak is just that rush hour, that 4 to 9 p.m. time when everybody's home from work and using a lot of electricity. So that's a key driver of electric costs. And a big way that we as a community can lower our wholesale costs and therefore the pressure on rates is to even out or flatten our load profile. And with EVs coming online, EVs, when they're they draw a lot of energy. So if they're drawing that energy during the peak, that hurts. It hurts a lot. But if they draw energy outside of the peak, it actually has the opposite effect and it levels that load profile. Another concept that we mentioned a couple of years ago at an annual meeting was called V2G, or vehicle to grid. The idea there is that electric vehicles could not only help to flatten the curve, they could actually do so more by storing energy, feeding it back onto the grid during that peak, reducing our peak even more. And then after the peak is over, say when you go to bed, it automatically starts charging. So you wake up the next morning with a full charge. Really cool technology, cool ideas. It's not there yet in terms of commercial availability, but one of the items or one of the pieces that we can put together as your cooperative is we can work on a distributed energy resource management and systems demand response program, which is another mouthful. It's also a very important part of enabling our community to be more energy efficient. And so we are working with our wholesaler Tri-State, and fingers crossed, we're looking at maybe being able to roll that out next year, so that when the technology does arrive, we can take full advantage of it. Okay. I mentioned rising electric costs, and that is a reality. We are looking at rising costs for Unsurprisingly, materials, labor. Somewhat surprisingly is the hike in our insurance costs that we've been seeing between 15 and 20% increases for insurance. A lot of this is driven by wildfire risk. And it's actually getting increasingly difficult to even get coverage. So another one that comes up and is only an increasing issue is cybersecurity. So that's a driver. We're also beginning, I mentioned the Red Mountain project, we're beginning to depreciate that. So we're beginning to have those costs. And this year, our wholesaler did announce that after years of not raising wholesale rates and even a few periods where they decreased rates, they were regulated to do so, but they did that. They're basically catching up. So they've announced 7.2% wholesale rate increase. Now, through our budgeting process, we found efficiencies. We worked together as a staff to reduce as much as possible, but there's no way we're going to be able to cover this without a rate increase to our members. So this is a heads up where our board is and the proposal that's on the table. We've announced this via press release and legal ads. But we're looking at, we've proposed a $3 increase to the access charge. And then, no, $5 increase to the access charge. And then a 3-cent increase to the on-peak energy. So the access charge is that part that you would pay no matter what. That's just getting access to the grid. That covers fixed costs. The energy charge, on the other hand, because of our time of use, new rate structure is somewhat flexible, somewhat dependent on the choices of consumers, dependent on maybe new technologies that can be installed that can help consumers move load off peak. So we've never had these options before, but with the time of use rate, we have another tool that we can use to help lower that rate pressure. And that leads me to our announcement of our new program, which is Electrify and Save, the on-bill repayment program. So Siobhan mentioned heat pumps, and kudos to Eco Action for the green grants. That's fantastic. We also want to help. So what we've done is we've rolled out a new on-bill repayment program for people who want to access that technology. As she said, heat pumps not cheap. Maybe I don't have the money to get that right now, but with this program, I can, and then pay it back over time on my power bill. It's an extremely low interest loan. There's no qualifying except for having a good pay history with your electric company. And you will install and access the benefits of a technology that can help with time of use and pushing, load off peak, and also just lower rates, lower energy use, and pay that back over time on your electric bill. So a very exciting offering to our members, and we hope that people will look at it and take advantage.
Would that stay with the property then, if someone did that and moved?
Yes, it stays with the property. And so
It's also looked at as a tariff and not a debt. And the pilot program for this program was our Letterhorn Port Alaska project. That was the very first use of the Colorado Clean Energy Funds to do this. And SMPA took that program and expanded it and offered it to the rest of the membership.
Tri-State saw what we were doing in Norwood, and they said, we want to do that for everybody.
As well as here.
As well as here. So, yeah, very cool.
And so because it's a tariff, not a debt, it doesn't affect someone's debt to income ratio?
So it's a benefit on the affordable housing project, because they took the solar and the heat pumps, pulled those costs out, put it on this on-bill repayment, and it didn't impact the cost of the mortgage nor the down payment. So it made it easier for the people trying to get an affordable house to get into that with these modern appliances and cost savings, so that that it was a net zero situation. Solar and heat pumps savings such that the electricity bills were significantly lowered in the process, even with paying off the debt on the electricity.
Wow.
I shouldn't say debt, cost.
And every situation's different, you know, we've had questions like, what if I pay off early? What if I only wanted to finance part of it? All of those terms are available for individual members who want to take advantage, so.
I have another idea that I'm sure someone's already thought of. But since the insurance company, you said they're raising their rates, you know, wildfire insurance companies make money. Like, could the electric industry insure themselves?
That's a very interesting
But in
question.
If you want.
There's actually, I attended a program at Mountain Towns looking at insurance, and there's some things happening around insurance. They're starting with businesses, actually, where it's like, what are you investing in? So when you are paying your large insurance bill, are you investing in things that are going to decrease our climate risk? Or are you investing in things that are going to increase our climate risk? So there are some pilots out there. This one's being run out of Park City, and they're looking at those big dollar businesses. I mean, their bottom line insurance number, I don't remember, it was something on the order of like you needed hundreds of millions of dollars. But the idea is they're going to pilot it and look at least if you have to pay insurance rates, can you pay them so that you don't increase your risk in the long term? Well, so those things are out. There's some
interesting.
thoughts.
Very interesting concept. Yeah, I don't have an answer, but I will pass that along. Maybe we can look at that.
And I love this idea of like encouraging people, you know, my feelings on forcing all electric new building requirements. Because I love this idea where we're actually incentivizing people to switch to electric and helping them do it in a way that's affordable and attainable to the mid-level, you know, salaried people. And so I love this idea of really like encouraging people to switch to electric and encouraging going after our goals for sustainability in the town, but in a way that's, you know, the carrot, not the.
Well, this is also for I mean, you probably could use it in a new build, but this is also for existing structures which were not currently.
Understand, but still, I love it because it's the carrot. I love it.
And as a personal anecdote, I got qualified for this program. I'm gonna be putting in a small mini split heat pump to offset the use of fossil fuels. I have a gas boiler, I have in-floor radiant, but I have 1,000 square foot of tile. I'm gonna use the program to give, along with all the incentives, state, federal, and SMBA incentives, and the on-bill repayment, to get this mini split. I'm gonna use my solar system to power it only during off-peak times to charge my 1,000 square feet of tile so that my boiler doesn't have to come on as much. So the cost benefit to me will be both in financial savings as well as less fossil fuels. That's a way of using this program to retrofit your house to become more carbon neutral.
Well, and I think it's part of the education piece, right, that Eco Action Partners spoke to us before about, you know, that it isn't necessarily gonna be forced on everyone. There's a large amount of money that's gonna go towards educating. You know, I built in 2019, and was like, I didn't really know about this, you know, and I was talking to my plumber, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, and he's like, they've come a long way in the last, 6 years. It's really different now.
And, you know, again, I know I keep shouting out to ECO, but the contractor education and training, the workforce development program is another absolutely key component of success in this way. It's a multi-headed dragon, and you have to hit it from multiple sides. And
that's really the bulk of an impact grant that they helped write that we just talked about is for education outreach. Majority of the money's going towards that.
Which is no small challenge.
Well, explaining to people that this works and this is how it works, right? Because it's still like, well, is that really gonna keep me warm?
That's the other benefit. And there are times when, if it's possible, we can increase the comfort level or the living standard of a particular house or a particular family. So that's another goal that goes in there as well.
It's also an air conditioner.
And also a heat pump is also an air conditioner. That's true.
About the rate increase.
Yes.
So I looked up and on your website, and there is the low income weatherization assistance program, which love that. Do you foresee more use of that with the rate increase?
Perhaps that's, so on our website, it's labeled as the IQ Income Qualified Weatherization Program. That is the same program that Emma mentioned. It is the CARE program. So that those those levels depend on county, and someone interested, basically our link goes right to their page. So people can find out if they qualify. But we are happy to help with that for income qualified members and to partner with ECO to make that available. So, yeah.
And do you guys like have help for the missing middle and those kinds of situations? If, like say a family in winter during peak times with the rate increases are looking at either having their heat shut off or getting a little help from you guys, is there ability to help?
Kind of, so in terms of, we do have rebates, so we offer those for, and these things, by the way, stack. So it's not like if you pick the best one, you don't get the other. These benefits do stack. So we have rebates for all of those technologies, heat pumps, EV chargers, and a lot of the things we've discussed tonight. Then, so that's our, sort of monetary benefit that we can offer to our members, and that's not tied to income at all. That's for everybody. The next thing that I would say, it's a brand new program, is the on-bill repayment. And so, because that really takes something that may have been a wall or a barrier and makes it possible. And so we're hoping that members will take advantage of that. You do still have to buy the thing, but you don't have to buy it all today. And so hopefully that helps. I've given a lot of information, went a little over time. Thank you all.
Some hard acts there.
No kidding, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody in the audience have questions? Either on Zoom or here?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You do the totally voice.
I was gonna ask about the totally voice. So the kids were up here talking about their favorite music, and I was shocked to hear Sublimes. And so it just made me want to shout out totally.
That was my first concert.
Just kills me every year when they're like making their prom playlist, and I was like, that was a vibe. Every year.
No,
It kills me.
Love it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Alex. All right, that takes us to policy matters. According to item number 10, thanks, Angie, she's up for item number 11.
I thought you were just here to
Oh,
be
just
supportive.
Resolution number 25-10, establishing expedited policies for affordable housing projects from the town of Ridgway.
Yes, thank you. So this resolution's purpose is really to formalize the town's commitment to a timely review of qualified affordable housing projects under Prop 123. And I'm gonna walk you through the typical review timeline in a few slides and explain that Ridgway already has a review process that's very conducive to meeting the requirements, which are on this slide. So the law mandates that by December of 2026, local governments need to demonstrate that they've implemented a fast track or expedited review program, which means that 90 days is the maximum amount of time for a review for projects that contain 50% affordable units under the state's definition of affordable. So I wanted to give some context here because the state's definition of affordable is probably not what we would see for development here. So for a 2-bedroom unit, rent would need to be around $1,400 maximum to remain affordable to a household earning 60% of the area median income. And then for ownership, if you're taking into account current mortgage rates, taxes, insurance, a unit around $330,000 would be considered affordable to a 3-person household earning 100% of the area median income. For 2 people, it's closer to 300,000. So also in various publications, you might hear about this program.
referred to as like DOLA's fast track program, Prop 123 fast track, or expedited review. Next slide, please. Because this is state mandated, under Prop 123, the state has, the Department of Local Affairs has published a lot of resources for us. They have guidance on designing, adopting, and implementing these programs. And there's state web pages dedicated to explaining the requirements. You can go to the next page if you want. So this one has some examples of communities that already have the 90-day fast track adopted, and you can just click on those links and see what their program has in it. There's also best practices for how to reduce your review timeline. Next slide. And then these are two process flow charts that are in our code for two different review processes that might be part of one of these qualified projects. You can see the conditional use permit, the decision is made at the planning commission level, and at the site plan application, you'd have a recommendation from planning commission to town council. So there's an extra step of the review. And I just want to give you like an overview. So next slide, please. Of our typical review timeline. So if an application is submitted, it triggers a completeness review, and that's a 10-day review by town staff. If the application is deemed complete, then it triggers the referral and technical review period. And that's a 21-day minimum. So we really rely on the applicant to supply a complete application that contains enough information for us to move it on to technical review. If they don't, and it's not deemed complete, then that 10 days starts over with a new submittal. Yeah, thank you. So once it goes to technical review, that's the point in which the 90-day requirement starts. If there's no substantive changes needed and no additional referral period is needed, no additional technical review is needed, then it triggers the application to be added to the next planning commission agenda. And that's the next planning commission agenda in which we can meet noticing requirements. So we have a couple of noticing requirements on here. If additional information is needed and additional referral is required, then that process starts over and the 90 days starts over. Next slide. Oh, I guess I have one more piece on that last slide, but it's okay, you don't have to go back. If you can recall, we modified the planning commission schedule to accommodate a quicker time frame between planning commission recommendation and town council for decision last year or this year. I don't know if it was early this year or last year. But planning commission regular meetings are held on the third Wednesday of each month, and town council meetings are held on the second. So in theory, a project could go to planning commission and the very next month go to town council. That was important. And then I brought a point forward in the staff memo in your packet that while this action's not likely to attract qualifying developments, it does show our support for this type of development. And Ridgway obviously experiences super high costs for construction and land. So for a project to be offering 50% affordable at the state's definition would be quite amazing, but not super likely. So yes, my recommendation is adoption of this resolution. With the adoption of the resolution, it does qualify us for an early adoption incentive because this process is one of our requirements through the state, but it's also part of our commitment for Prop 123. So yeah, I have some next steps as well for this if you adopt it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Any questions?
for Angie?
Makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
Seems like a no-brainer.
You sold us.
All right.
Questions for you?
So
Questions from the audience?
I'll move to adopt resolution number 2025-10, establishing expedited review policies for affordable housing projects in the town of Ridgway.
Second that.
Motion made second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This is rules.
Cool.
Thank you.
I just want to touch on the next steps really quick. So staff's prepared to submit the resolution to DOLA and go for that early incentive money. The money can be used for anything that the local planning capacity grant can be used for, which includes a comprehensive plan update or a master plan update. And that is something that is pending.
In the budget for next year.
In the budget for next year.
Very cool. Thank you, Angie.
Thank you.
Grant. Good job, Ms. Campbell.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us to item number 12, notice of award for marketing and tourism promotion services. Tara, welcome.
Mayor, thank you so much. We now prepare a slideshow.
That's all right.
A memo, and you have in your packets memo from staff as well as a presentation from Destination by Design. So I'm just going to kind of walk you through the process of the selection committee and how they got to proposal that's before you now. So we put out a request for proposals. The timeline is in your packet. We received 11 proposals from destination marketing organizations from around the country. The selection committee, which was made up of Sue Hush, Joan Chismeyer, Donna Jaffe, Mayor Clark, Preston Neal, myself, and Nicole. What's the last name? I know. Willette, thank you. And we reviewed all of the applications. We then invited them for interviews and finally landed on the selection of Destination by Design as a proposal. We looked at the criteria that were laid out in the RFP, and we also really thought carefully about how this marketing firm would help us market in a really special situation. We feel like, you know, Ridgway we have a unique relationship with the concept of tourism and marketing because we really love our small town feel and our small town character. And so I think we want to be careful when we think about marketing to make sure that we're really staying aligned with the community values. And we're really careful around not just sort of indiscriminately marketing. So we really felt like Destination by Design had a track record of working closely with communities like ours to really listen closely to what the community wanted and create a strategy and framework that aligned with the community's values. And their products were really top-notch compared to their competitors in terms of just the quality of their production, video and graphics. So
Where are they?
they're located in Mountain, North Carolina.
And there's all but one of their resume examples were East Coast communities.
Yeah, they're kind of close to where they are. So I really wanted to know how they worked outside of their time zone and how it would be for them to work so far away. So I reached out to Harney County, which is one of their clients in Oregon, which is also a high desert, small rural community. And I really wanted to understand how did this work for Harney County? And how did they connect with the residents there? And that's literally, for me, that's what sold me on it, was actually my conversation with the staff member in Harney County. And she described Destination by Design being tremendously generous with their time and coming to Harney County, listening to lots and lots of residents, having one-on-ones, having small group conversations to really get a sense for what Harney County was about. That also doesn't want to be a Bend, Oregon. They don't want to be a tourist destination, but they do want to thrive as a community and they want to tell their story first and foremost to their own residents. And that was what she described, that they helped guide them on your primary audience are the residents of your community. And that's how you'll be able to attract people that align with the community's values, if you speak first and foremost to the residents. And I thought that was just very nuanced and thoughtful. And she described how respectfully Destination by Design represented their community. And I was frankly kind of blown away by the video that they did, which I showed to Councilman Grambley right before this meeting. I can share with any of you. So that was also the strong consensus of the review committee.
So I'm happy to answer any questions. I also have review committee members on the phone, on Zoom. They may want to weigh in. And I believe that we also have Matt Powell from Destination by Design here available to answer any questions for you. So hi Matt, maybe we could start with any of the review committee members. If you feel so moved, feel free to share the thoughts that you want to about our recommendation or our process.
Anybody got anything to add?
Not seeing any of our review committee members coming off mute, so I'm going to assume that means they don't have anything to add. But if you do, please feel free to chime in. Oh, somebody has their hand up. Sue has her hand up. Okay, great.
Go for it, Sue.
Thanks, guys. Of course, you knew I'd have a comment. One of the one of the important things that I felt about, I mean, we really were very specific when we reviewed all these proposals, and there's some really terrific work there. Actually, I should say two things. One thing was to have someone come with a fresh eye, like a completely fresh eye. A lot of the other applicants or respondents were here in Colorado, had experience with Ridgway, but it's really nice, I think, to have somebody come in who is a professional with our size of towns with a fresh eye. And the other thing is, I'm not the person to ever say that telecommuting is not a perfect thing, because I've been doing it since 1997 full time. So for me, the fact, I don't care where they are, as long as they do a great job. So those were two of the big concerns for me and the big considerations in this process. And I appreciate being part of it. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much for your help, Sue.
I would just throw out that while I was on the committee, I had a couple of conflicts that kept me from being as involved as I would have liked to. But I did see the rest of the committee being incredibly engaged and doing a wonderful job, and actually coming down to that they had a couple choices at the very end and really had to have some strong heart-to-heart with the whole group to try and see who was going to rise to the top. And just was really impressed with the whole process, as kind of come to expect in Ridgway. But I think it was really a great process.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. I will add that because we had two finalists, we extended the deadline, our time frame just a little bit, and we called. I contacted 3 references from each one of our top 2 candidates, and I had extensive conversations with our clients, and that was really helpful. And it also just gave us more information as we considered our final choice. So.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, maybe we should let Matt give us the.
What was that? I didn't hear exactly what you said.
Just go ahead, Matt. I want to give you a chance to weigh in.
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, it's an honor to work with communities like you guys. We do work with a lot of rural communities that are in transition in one way or another, and just want to kind of get ahead of some of the change and define the narrative that they want to have out there. And we really believe in this kind of community-driven brand and marketing process. And so, we really love the work that we do and love to work with folks that care about the place that they live and work and want to make it better. And so we just really think of ourselves as an extension of your team and trying to help you accomplish your goals in that way. So, it's always, every project's different, every community's different. And so we just try to get in there and listen and really come alongside you guys and help you guys in the way that seems best. So that's kind of the first thing I would say.
Great.
Yeah.
Anybody on council have questions for Matt?
Looking forward to working with you.
Yeah.
And meeting you in person?
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be a blast. I'm really excited about it, and I'm sure you'll enjoy interacting with my team as well.
Can't wait. We're excited.
Great. Me too.
Any other questions, either up here on council or on Zoom, down to just a few people in the room.
Do you have something to?
You have a question?
I did, yeah, I had a question. I was just curious if there's a site that we can just kind of see this company from, what was it called?
It's called Destination by Design.
We can send you some information.
Yep, feel free to go to the website. We've got a lot of work up there, and it's a pretty good example of what we do all over the place.
Thank you. And Tia might be a good person for them to meet with when they're doing that work.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate what you said about checking in with the group in Oregon, getting a feel for how, out here. I mean, we've seen issues of different mentalities on the eastern slope versus the western slope of Colorado. So going from, the East Coast to the west side of Colorado is a much larger leap. And glad you guys got a chance to vet that to your satisfaction. It sounds like it's going to be a great group to work with.
Yeah, we have a team in Sisters, Oregon right now, in fact, as well, working with that community on a signage program, trying to help them to create some better signage for the community. So yeah, we're really and in fact we just began some work in Missouri, and we're really kind of fanning out all over the country, and we love it. It's great work, and we love to kind of get our hands in the mix with you guys and just try to help you guys make your community better. It's what we're all about.
Awesome.
There's a 3-minute video on their website that highlights Harney County that I would just really encourage you to check out.
So what she said you should.
That's what I showed Kevin, yeah, and it's the way that the Harney County staff member described the process was when they came out for their deep dive visit to the community. That video was one of the first things they produced, and it was a product of all of these conversations they had, as well as photos that we took and videos.
Right.
So I kind of wish I had queued it up for you tonight because it was so moving to me, but please take a chance to check it out if you'd like
We
to.
can all go look it up.
Having driven through Burns many
Yeah,
times,
that's in Harney County.
it's a very unique place, and that video it's breathtaking. Kudos, Matt. That's a nice product.
Thanks a whole lot. I appreciate that.
Well, I move to authorize staff to enter into a professional service agreement with Destination by Design for tourism and marketing services for the town of Ridgway in the amount of $60,000.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank
Welcome
you.
aboard, Matt.
Thanks for taking that.
Thank you so much. Look forward to it.
Congratulations,
Yeah,
Matt.
can't wait to meet you.
Touch soon.
Okay, talk soon. Bye-bye.
All right, that takes us to the next one for Tara, item number 13, appointment of a new member of Ridgway Fuse Creative Main Street Committee.
Yeah, we're really excited. The Fuse Committee unanimously recommends Anna Strauss to join the Fuse Committee. She's actually on Zoom as well. And so we'll give her an opportunity to speak. But first, I want to share a little bit about why the Fuse Committee recommended her. We've been fortunate to have a really stable committee over the last number of years. And so we haven't had a lot of new members, but we have had some recent member leave, and we've been wanting to add new members for a while, but we've just been busy with a lot of our other work. Anna came to us and asked to join the committee. She's a resident of the Space to Create building. And so part of what she brings, in addition to having a passion for the community and for creative work, is she's really passionate about helping the town and the Decker Room integrate with the residents of the Space to Create building in an effective way. And she's willing to help play somewhat of a liaison role with that. So we were really excited about that energy and initiative. Anna, would you like to, would this be an appropriate time for you to share something? Anna, would you like to add anything?
No, I'm just really excited to get started with both events and everything.
Awesome.
Okay. Any questions for anyone?
Excited you want to be a part of the fun. Thank you.
Yay. Thank you.
I move to appoint Anna Strauss as a Ridgway Fuse Committee member.
A second.
All right, motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Welcome aboard, Anna.
The honor.
I passed her and she said, Anna, we're on.
Oh, you're on. Okay.
Thank you,
Okay.
council. Congratulations, Dana.
Thanks, Tara.
Thanks, Tara.
That takes us to item number 14, first reading of ordinance number 04/2025, amending chapter 15 of the municipal code concerning vehicle idling restrictions. Rusty.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So members of the Sustainability Advisory Board have collectively expressed a desire to regulate vehicle idling to help ensure that the practice is mitigated as much as possible around our community and to complement the town's idle-free Ridgway campaign. So over the last several months, SAB members have done some research on vehicle idling restrictions in other communities, and they've focused their time, a lot of their meeting time, on crafting restrictions that they believe fit our community. So the ordinance before you would enact a restriction on any person to idle or permit the idling of a motor vehicle for 2 minutes or more within any 1 hour period of time. The ordinance provides for several exemptions. That does include emergency vehicles. There's more information in the memo, but I'll just go ahead and leave it at that. I'm happy to answer any questions. We did have some SAB members here tonight. Not anymore though. Well, Terry's.
And there's a couple on Zoom. It was one. Terry was on Zoom.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I'd like to add that this was a personal passion project for Dana
I
Ivers.
was gonna mention that too.
She did a lot of the actual research and she struggled through the frustration of the process, and in fact, bringing this forward in the way it is now is part of the learning curve for the SAB on how to approach resolutions like this. So we learned a lot through the process. And a credit to Preston, of course, for babysitting the group as we struggled to figure out how to do this.
Yeah, I was hoping Dana will be here either on Zoom or in person, so we can thank her for her efforts. I hope we'll pass that along at the SAP level. Sorry it took so long, but sometimes that's just the way these things roll. Finally got it on the table. And does anybody have any questions for staff or anyone about this?
Mayor, I appreciate hearing from the marshal, just given the implications of this. Shane, don't feel like you have to say anything, but I mean.
You have any thoughts?
Do you have something to say?
Didn't know that was coming back tonight, so it's good. Review it.
You can also bring it up during second reading too,
Yeah,
if you want to be
yeah.
prepared.
This is
I'll be more prepared in a second.
It's all good.
Is there any, I don't see it here, maybe I'm just missing an exemption for like, isn't it diesels that need more time to run up? I don't see an exemption for a diesel vehicle. in here.
Yeah, I mean, there are.
There's lots of exemptions, but I don't see anything specifically for that reason. That's cranes, forklifts.
Well, I mean, you can make broad stroke on any of these. An engine must be operated, I don't know, for safety reasons, including the operation of cranes and forklifts and stuff. That's not what we're talking about, but there's several categories for the exemptions and such. And Shane, I was only inviting you because I mean, this is another enforcement piece. It's going to be, in all honesty, very difficult to enforce, extremely.
You sit there with a stopwatch.
Unless Shane is just out there at the post office staring at cars, and that's not going to
But
happen.
I do think that does bring up the question, Jersey, that you're probably idling your diesel in your driveway in the morning as opposed to in front of the coffee shop or at the post office or.
Very true.
So
Yeah.
we're still going to have some of that idling, but it's not necessarily in a concentrated place where people are trying to be outside.
Yeah.
And what's gonna make this successful is our continued public education campaign.
And that was recognized by the SAB that this is going to be difficult to enforce, that this is still something that not only Dana was passionate about, but the SAB agreed. This is something the SAB should get behind.
Oh, it's great.
Well, how would that work if the community members decide that they should be enforcing that?
With my complaint.
That's been the issue in the past, is people attempting to enforce it themselves.
Right.
And most of our issues come up when it's like at the coffee shop or at the market or local businesses where people think that they're idling too long while they're running to get their coffee or whatever on a cold morning. So that's where, and then we've even had people go to the extent of sticking nasty notes and stickers that they had made up that they were violating the pumping law in Colorado. So we've had to mitigate a lot of that, including our seventh judicial district attorney was subject to one of the nasty stickers that was stuck on her windshield when she was at the coffee shop. And she had a hybrid vehicle that had a battery issue, so she had to leave it running in order to keep the battery up while she was on the way to a meeting. So we kind of mitigated that, but that's been the issue, is people taking it upon themselves to do the enforcement.
I wonder if there are, like, we could print up a quarter-size page of a card that just explains the ordinance very simply, you know, and people could leave that instead of maybe a nasty note. We can start on the education aspect of it.
Okay, and that also brings up another point that's not included in this. Dana, indeed, one also to push to, with the town to budget a couple of metal plaque signs that be strategically located that indicate the nature of the ordinance, which we haven't actually addressed.
But, you know, a paper would go further.
Yeah.
You know, that's fine, but that's only a few places. Like, an example is I've been accosted in the park, walking my small dog by someone just like screaming from the other side of the park about the leash law. And I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't think you work for the marshal's department. Thank you for the information, but like, now you are also breaking an ordinance because you're harassing me. Like, I just think we have to find the balance in, it's good to educate people, but when we get these like, you know, extreme vigilante type people, like, that's not really appropriate to like accost people because you, like you said, that person had a reason why their vehicle was running. So I just.
Well, that's part of the education as well.
Yeah.
Continually educating the public that their job isn't to enforce our codes.
Yeah.
They can make complaints.
So I'm wondering if the little cards might actually promote more confidence.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. Let's see what, I think it's kind of a ticket to, a little ticket to enforce. But we can kind of cross that bridge as we come to it and think about what education looks like and what best practices around that are. We're not gonna be the first community to be dealing with vigilante.
Did anyone on the SAB reach out to news that have a formal ban?
Well, mostly Dana did. She actually brought like 5 or 6 community examples. This
How they enforce.
No,
What their ordinance is.
no, I don't think I really know how they did.
I know
I think
Tyler
it's the same issue.
What's that?
has one.
And yeah, and they have cups coming up all the time, for sure. Like our guys will have cups come up when they're unloading.
And the exhibits in this are extremely short. Years.
Just more cops, less community notifying the people, but doing the same thing, but now there's a dangerous risk involved. It seems a little like a waste of time, to be honest.
That was addressed to me this afternoon by a concerned citizen as well.
Like, if it's already happening, people are already alerting these cars, and it's like, we're just supposed to educate them, so it's the cops instead of them. The cops seem to be more upset about the stickers than the actual idling, so like, just kind of seems like a waste of time.
I don't know that,
Especially because we've already had signage up, that's pretty much our only signage when you come into town is idle free Ridgway, like, we're good there, I feel like, but maybe not.
I don't know that I see it as a waste of time. It's a difficult, touchy situation. Part of doing this is codifying it versus just having a sign up that you see. That now it's not just like, we just said idle free Ridgway, like there are these restrictions.
Now in trouble, right?
And whether it's like get in trouble or like.
That's what it is, right? Fining or something else.
But at some point, like.
Is it a fine?
We have penalty provisions.
It's a resolution.
You don't get fined on the
Those ordinance.
first offense.
What is the?
It's just more formalizing the policy.
But I do think there's a gulf between someone backing their car into the coffee shop and leaving it idling. And saying, hey, can you not do that, which is like a completely normal thing to do. and screaming, turn it off. But when someone says sass is back at you, I don't have to. We actually have an ordinance in Ridgway, could you please turn it off? Like, there is something behind it versus me just saying, my personal preference is that you turn it off.
And at that point, then a cop goes and turns their car on to get down there.
Anyway,
Like-
I get your point, but you know, it's, your point is like. Deregulation is good for,
Yeah, like I just, I don't know, it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like our biggest issue, but.
it's, you know, democracy. It's not always pretty. We got a lot of people ask for this, so we're going forward, we'll see how it goes.
I move to introduce ordinance number 04-2025 on first reading.
Second. All right, motion made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. That's how that's unanimously passes 5-1. Thank you, that moves us to item number 15. In order for the town of Ridgway, amending chapter 2 of the Ridgway Municipal Code concerning compensation for town council.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So this is a follow-up from the conversation that was held at the last meeting on October 1st, I believe. Regarding compensation for town council members and mayor position. So this ordinance, as it's drafted before you, would increase the monthly stipend amount for the mayor position and council member positions, and the change, if approved, would not benefit the individuals currently holding office. Just want to make sure that's understood.
I know that it wouldn't take effect until after the next election, but what you're saying is that it would only affect the people that are newly elected?
Correct.
So like if I'm here for 20 years, I'm still at the existing one.
No.
That's everybody.
That's what she's clarifying.
When you're
Yeah.
reelected,
term
not
comes back.
after the next election.
Correct.
Okay, I mean, it's not a huge amount of money, but I just wondered how the process.
Well, and just to be clear, the paper reported that the mayor pro tem was not getting an increase, not that it would apply to me
Oh,
immediately.
there were a lot of things wrong in that.
Didn't we pass that?
Yeah, that's fine, that's whatever. I always think I was the person who's like, man, it doesn't matter. But,
They double reading that myself.
so
It was complicated.
it's okay.
It's like we're going from 250 a month to 267 a month.
$17.
$17, yeah.
It's a cup of coffee.
Any other comments, questions for staff on this? Any comments or questions from the audience, either on Zoom? Something we've talked about for a long time, and it's a very kind of modest incremental increase, so. And to reiterate, it doesn't apply to anyone on council until they've gone to an election and do that.
Well, and I'd like to
Or
point out
doing
that the gist of the conversation was really about trying to increase the mayor stipend or whatever it's called, because the job has a lot of requirements, so there's a lot of time that you put in, and so if someone were to follow you in this position, it doesn't pay very well, I guess. Is what I'm trying to say. I don't think it pays a whole lot better, but it was at least a just. That's true.
I do wanna point out the pushback that I had made, which is John does a particular version of the job, and if we think about making sure that we're offering that leadership position to people across income levels and job situations, a non-John mayor may put more burden on staff, which isn't to say that they're not a good mayor, it is just to say that they might hold a job that is their primary form of income that does not allow them to do things the way John does. So if we kind of did an intermediate step for mayor, understanding that we need to acknowledge our current mayor, but there is deeper things.
So I move that John never be allowed to not be mayor.
I think John gets to live John's life.
That motion dies for a second, thank you very much.
So anyway, I move to introduce ordinance numbers 05-2025, amending chapter 2 of the Ridgway Municipal Code concerning compensation of town council.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Wondering what the total number of ordinances that Ridgway has. Cause they renumber each year, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
You know?
do I know how many?
Yeah.
No, I have a book, but I don't have them all the way back to incorporation. Yeah.
Handful a year for sure. Amendments and whatnot. All right, that takes us to item number 16, presentation. Oh, we already did that, right?
Yeah, that was just a continuation.
Continuation, we needed it, and we got caught up. Okay. Takes us to written and verbal reports, town manager's report.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things. Jennifer Nelson's memorial is on Friday. I put this in the message I sent you all last week, whenever it was, but we would like to close town hall to afford everybody the ability to attend the service and the reception after. So please let me know if you have any concerns about that. But this Friday at 11 a.m. at St. Daniel's Catholic Church in Ridgway. There's a public presentation on the Ridgway and Uriah County Regional Housing Needs Assessment. That'll be next Thursday in the Decker Room. Mayor Clark, I believe, will consider being our MC for the evening. And all the folks from Points Consulting will be there to present the fruits of their labor and with pretty close or potentially the final version of the needs assessment. So thanks to Angie for coordinating all that. And that will include representatives from Uriah County, including the county commissioners. It's been noticed as like a joint meeting. So
Angie, can you just send us the draft? It says contact if we
Yes.
want it. Can you just send it to all of
Sure.
us? Thank you.
They've done a great job on it. And it's a lot of
Yes,
data,
well,
but it's really interesting.
That morning is the CML
Correct.
governing meeting as well.
We spent the whole day at the Decker Room.
Yeah. It'll be a busy day in Decker.
won't be any lights, but
Bring a head lamp.
Yeah, I was wondering who's gonna.
Pay no attention to that.
I think there's probably gonna be, I think there's gonna be lights and pipe insulation.
there'll be plenty of. An update on the Beaver Creek Diversion Restoration Project. Huge shout out to Ron Alexander for serving in the owner's advisor role, inspecting up there day in and day out. He gave us a little, a great synopsis here on what's taken place in the last few months. And Meridian Contracting is still working their tails off up there while they still can. We're looking at, you know, some colder weather coming in, but hoping they can at least get very close to the Thanksgiving holiday schedule and then remobilize in the spring. So really proud of all that's gone into that project. Certainly wish we were further along, but there's, you know, it's been a great project so far.
Did you say what percentage you would estimate that they'll have completed? Do you have some ballpark, 50s, less?
I'd probably say somewhere between 50 and 60, probably maybe close to 60%.
That's great.
That's great. Ron would probably come in and give a totally different percentage, but I think let's just go with that.
Okay.
Don't tell him.
What's the status?
Don't repeat it.
What's the status of Lake?
Lake's looking really good. The pre-sedimentation ponds are looking great, really full, and Lako is gaining
Good.
by a lot because we're that temporary water pipe, Meridian's had that going ever since we put it in, with the exception of a couple days when they had to do a couple things, but I mean, we're looking good.
Yeah, maybe a stupid question, but during the heart of winter, which is coming up December, January, does any of the surface water freeze or does it stop flowing?
Great question. Yeah, Beaver Creek, there's hardly any water on the surface coming down, at least traditionally, that would get into the Ridgway ditch. There was hardly any. I mean, it really depended on the year, but, and Joanne could correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. You know, in the thick of winter, say January 15th, there was no water coming down the ditch into Lake Ottawa, if that's what you're talking about.
So is it Happy Hollow and Lako or only sources during the winter?
During the winter, yes, we're relying on Happy Hollow, also known as the Cottonwood Creek diversion, for the better part of the winter. And it's really meeting demand, just given that, you know, per capita consumption goes down, demand goes down pretty significantly during winter months. So, good question there. Happy Hollow serves us during the winter, and if we needed to, we can certainly draw from the Katana one, but don't really have to in the winter. But the cool thing about the Beaver Creek Diversion Project is beyond the Coanda screen, we'll eventually have an infiltration gallery installed, which is meant to collect some of that subsurface water in that area. And I've seen it myself with some of the digging up there and all the boulder harvesting. There's a good amount of water under all that gravel, I think. So I think
Love to
it seems like it's gonna be a worthwhile expenditure to have
Good.
that.
Net gain.
What's that?
A net gain, maybe?
Yes, it seems that way. And Joanne can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm optimistic there.
Right.
And then Joanne gave us an update on the ductile iron project. Ridgway Valley did a great job coming down the hill and working to about the intersection of Amelia with Sabeta. We have them wrapped up. Actually, the last 3 days they've been installing that master meter up top between the water treatment plant and the tanks. And then I think they just wrapped that up today. And in the next couple of days, they'll demobilize. They'll come back in March and finish that run of ductile iron pipe between Sabeta and Moffett. So a couple more weeks of work, maybe 3. I don't know. Joanne would probably say longer, but
you're not
it'll be
happy
fine.
there.
But it will require some additional water shutoffs and outages, just given the nature of the work. Really appreciate everyone in the community and their patience with those water shutoffs. Granted, they were late in the evening, but it can really be a pain. Wake up in the middle of the night and just need a glass of water or something. So we don't take it lightly. We know it's annoying, but
it's
all
planned,
good.
but it's planned and it's better than unplanned outages.
correct.
And then 4 hours in the middle of the day because it exploded.
The banner structure project is on hold until March as well. The design that Buckhorn gave us was a really cool design, but some of the components and parts were very hard to get a hold of and somewhat makeshifty, if that's even a word.
Sure.
And not available like individually. They were available in bulk. Anyway, there's a lot to it, but it caused a delay, like a really significant delay. So we're hoping over the next few months we get everything ready on a shelf, ready to go for like March 15th, when we can feel comfortable about digging 20 feet into the ground to do this thing. So
How does that work with the budget? Does it have to be then put into next year's budget?
great question. Yes, we have that carried over into the 2026 budget. Yeah.
It was in the 2025 budget and I removed it from the ending, the year-end number and put it into 2026.
We don't have any.
Does that answer your question, Michelle?
Yeah.
We talked plenty about the Impact Accelerator. Again, huge shout out to Siobhan. There's a whole press release in here from Mountain Towns 2030 about the summit. I'll let John and or Terry talk about that more if you don't like. Congrats on all the awards. And then the last thing is Chris Bowain gave us a very interesting, and I hope you guys got to it, read it, report on the biosolid removal project. The sludge. They took out a lot of sludge and went right up to that dollar mark that we had told them for the budget. And we definitely got our money's worth. It's only gonna help us out with test results going forward. So huge shout out to Chris and Rodney for being with those guys at Terra Genesis and getting that work done a couple weeks ago. So
We need to get that life preserver, that life ring in place for the next time they're out there.
ASAP, yeah.
Just for those in the audience who, if anyone is curious, it was 450,000 total pounds of dried sludge.
6 truckloads.
6 truckloads. Just if anybody's curious.
We're an active community.
Well, and I was concerned when they said about taking it to Delta and using it as, the fertilizer thing, because you hear of back east where they have those situations with the forever come, I was just like, oh God, hopefully they know more than
I do about it.
I'm sure they do. It's their job.
Their job.
I pay attention.
And Polly had a joke.
She did a joke. I liked my joke too. I thought it was super dumb and I think I sent it to Preston and said, I'm not sorry about this. My joke.
We did misspell that subscribe.
Intentionally. I'm bad about that. So the joke is, I got chased by a skeleton, but when they caught me, they just gave me a kiss and a hug. It's an XO skeleton.
It's the most poly-appropriate joke I've ever heard in my life.
Bo did give a thumbs up.
What?
He's been paid.
I can't comment about Bo's jokes. Someone will say something.
That's all I got.
So hopefully you guys noticed the beautiful highway cleanup that Michelle, Polly and I did. It was an absolutely gorgeous day.
Thank you, guys.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It was spectacular. It was great company and
But we
Preston.
marked where we stopped, so if anybody feels the need to get back out there that wasn't able to make it, we can tell you where to get started.
I'm happy the same reason I was drowning
Only
and
3 of us.
persist.
We stopped before the end.
But it was a good time.
Good time we had, wow.
That's right.
Yeah, Preston was there too.
Well, I cleaned up Sparkle with over
Yeah.
like 28.
Sparkle, is that what we call it?
Yeah, we took sparkling Jones for a long time. Yeah, that was. JT spent an entire cleanup for all there. That's fine.
Anybody else? Terry's probably got it this year.
Yeah, we just had SAP meeting last night. We worked through the 2026 work plan. Good job of fleshing out some details. We're trying to come up with some projected budget for some of the items that would be recommended to council for expenditures. But probably the biggest expenditure would be the 5% matching if we were to get the grant. We'll know more about that prior to, I think, finalizing the budget. We also honored Mayor Clark for the award, which I'm just going to reiterate. John was recognized in this forum of 600 people, 40 or so mountain communities for having well, the name of the word is Impact Accelerator. Excuse me, Mountain Catalyst.
Is that what the award is over there next?
That's the second one we talked
Oh.
about, which is.
Where's yours, at your house?
Yes. It's not like that, it's, well,
Oh,
It's
it's
a
like
little-
that.
it's a little statue.
there's a wooden statue that goes in that.
Right behind Jake.
But the second award was for the town of Ridgway, that small towns do big things. And again, we beat out many other mountain communities and talked to the SAB about making hay out of it. We're gonna use that, and I'd like to promote that in the marketing campaign. You know, this is a moniker for the town. Small town doing big things. We got this as the leader in climate action amongst all of these other mountain communities. It's a big deal.
I think that when it's not sitting there, it should go on the wall and permanently be here or go on the side, you know? You might see it better.
Well, the trophy, where's the trophy? Preston's office.
No, it's on the desk out in the front hall, across from the clerk's office.
Awesome.
That's a good spot. for
That's it. The thanks with Preston's guidance, the SAB is maturing meeting by meeting. We're getting things done. We've got a good group now.
Great, good, that's really exciting.
Anybody else?
Got anything?
So I told you guys about Norwood on Saturday night. It was really interesting to see the Norwood community come out and talk about impacts from the Four Seasons development.
Was Merrimack there?
No, they were invited, but they were not, these meetings were not scheduled to accommodate Merrimack. It was just an update from the West End Coalition.
How many people were there?
30? It was pretty well attended. You know, just. How are we gonna mitigate, the topics of conversation were how are we gonna mitigate, I mean, they spent an hour giving updates that I had already had and it didn't stick around for much past the second hour mark. But people were pretty respectful and just.
That's good.
Concerned about cultural differences between people coming in from out of the area versus hiring locals to do projects and. like I said, I think I might have been the most vocal of pointing at the mayor and asking why we weren't sharing impact fund or like, you know, development funds because it has impacts beyond San Miguel County. And I'm hopeful, I'm hopeful that things we really do have impacts, but I don't see it being evenly distributed. I don't see people who are here for work buying art. They might go out to dinner, they might go to a bar, but I don't see it being the same as someone vacationing, so.
That's all the TNY.
Yeah.
Folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know that they already contracted out one restaurant for all of their meals?
I did not know
So
that.
it will not be contributing to the rest of the economy.
Which restaurant?
With the million,
Oh, yeah.
so,
And-
but yeah, just so
and
we know
Greenhouse.
now that that is who will be making their food and it will not. it will
So
not be going
they'll
out
only be
into-
eating out for a splurge when they're bored of it.
They're not gonna be going out here. That's not their budget.
No, I'm not saying, I kind of agree with you, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah, but
don't,
but no, that's what I had heard recently was that contract was changed.
yes, I do.
Well, and I think it's closed now.
It is closed right now.
No, not seven.
No, Mountain Lodge or the million.
Yes, there's,
They're closed like February.
they're claiming these employees are on the 6-figure.
Well, and
Jobs.
they might be, but I think most of them probably have a lot of families that they're sending money back to. It's not just it's not vacation. That's the difference.
It's a guy who lives in hotels still yet.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for Beth for joining us at Mountain Town 2030. I don't think she heard me.
And sorry, what?
Thank you for joining us at Mountain Town 2030. Hope that-
Yeah, it was great.
And for going to the Norwood meeting.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like, if I just keep moving, everything will be great.
Don't stop.
Pedal, pedal.
All right, unless there's anything else with the good of the order, I will declare us adjourned.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think.
Nice work.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. Thanks, Bo.
Just don't say it.
Thanks, Bo.
Just. I think that's a good, right?